Vibe. Woohoo! How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to the first day of December, first day of the last month of 2024. My name is Lindsay of My 2 Cents of Nonsense, and good riddance indeed. This has been a weird ass year. How's everyone doing? Say hello to the people, Charles.
Hi, everyone. I'm Charles. It's my fault. I think I'm not on either British or American time. I'm officially on like Australian time at this point. I woke up 10 minutes ago. It is my fault. Apologies. How are you? Disembodied logo, Mr. Rosales.
Si, senor.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Well,
50% of the group can't be weird and quiet. Sorry.
50% of okay. Well, it's going to be, it was a good week for me. I've been off the social medias. I've been off the streaming and doing all of that other kind of stuff, but we're going to make a comeback this week on Friday. So, we'll tackle whatever happens this week, whether it's strange or unusual or even a bit off color, if you will, because, we do that on After Dark.
That's Friday's the naughty show.
Friday's the naughty show for the grown-ups.
Gray, how about you? How are you?
Doing great, man. Happy to be here. I'm Gray, and I'm happy to be here.
Are you feeling glad? Do you have sunshine?
So glad.
I don't know the lyrics to this. Damn it.
You're gonna age yourself, even anyone that did know it.
We're on the tail end.
Man.
Well, everybody at once. We're on the tail end of the holiday weekend. I'm thankful that I made it in time, and I'm thankful that I was with my wife for the holiday, and we watched The Substance over a turkey dinner, which sounds like the most bizarre thing to do for Thanksgiving. But
no, I get it. Romance.
I was kind of curious about that, whether expats celebrate the Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. They have pubs that people in mostly London, but there's places that Americans can go to have a turkey dinner. Usually it's at pubs. But it's...
Did they make it dry for them so that they feel like relatives made it?
What? A dry form?
Dry turkey.
I mean, it is pub fare, so it's maybe not the freshest. Sometimes it's reheated. Sometimes they get that right dryness, but
yeah, they don't have full birds here for sale. That's one thing that I had to get like I think I put it on Instagram. It's just like a box of a turkey breast and boxed
Thanksgiving
stuffing
in a box. I love that.
It's not Thanksgiving. It's just turkey dinner over here.
There is something about the pub atmosphere of like doing a kind of an off-brand or off-timed holiday. The pub I was working at, we would always do New Year's at midnight, but also like in the middle of the afternoon for when it turned midnight in England, because we were a British pub. So if you worked the right shift, you'd get 2 different countdowns to midnight. It was super fun, actually.
So at 4 p.m. it'd be because it's
like 3 to 5 somewhere in there. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a good time.
How about you, Enzo?
Oh, me, I just chilled. My whole family didn't really want to do anything this year, so I just went and saw Moana, hung out, continued my hate watch of Young Rock. My dad and I had chili. It was very, very good chili. It was like the anti-Thanksgiving, but it was fun. It was a good time.
Right on. Gray?
Yeah, had a good Thanksgiving. Not only am I thankful to be here, but it was nice. I did minimal work. I was supposed to make an appetizer, which was very easy to do, and then yeah, I got 2 turkeys, so that was awesome. One
Oh yeah.
set of family decided to smoke one, and the other one spatchcocked theirs. So yeah, it was awesome. 2 birds. I double birded it this week.
2 birds,
It was
1
awesome.
stone.
So it was amazing, man. And then I got to see Moana also that day, and yeah, also Wicked. And I got to say, people are wrong. They should have gone to Wicked instead.
Well, a lot of people did see Wicked, for the record. Let's not minimize the
I
number
think
of
too
people
many
that did
saw
that.
Moana is what I'm getting at with the wrong. But you know, good
That's right.
times. And I'm
But
happy
also,
that you know, people like Dice are
bonjour,
here.
right?
Bonjour,
It's
Dice.
always
Well,
a good time
it's a
when
good
Dice is here.
thing. It's a good thing because there were some people who watched Wicked and saw no rewatchability in that, but were still in the mood for a musical. And I think that's where your crossover happens is when you have people that are musically inclined and want to sing along with the screen. You're going to have to see, either a kids movie or a Broadway musical. So, good for them for getting out of the house for a second weekend in a row.
Mm. And yeah, it kind of leads to the disaster that was this very strong 5-day weekend. Last weekend we were doing numbers. We didn't specify, and it doesn't really matter. But Linzo, you have the weekend that tour.
Oh, I do, but I also have Marcy with a good day and a super chat. Thank you, sir. Good day to you as well. Not good day
Indeed.
like Fez would say, and then I leave. Like good day, and let's continue talking.
Who's Fez?
I've been watching a lot of that '70s show. So Fez from.
Oh,
I
Wilder
apologize. Yeah.
Valderrama.
Remember? Oh,
I-
oh wow!
yes.
You actually knew his real name. I am impressed, sir. But anyway, to the weekend that was, we got some not Wilder Valderrama news, but we got Moana 2 in first place with $221 million, and that is for the full 5-day, correct? Just to double check.
Yes, the 27th through the 1st.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. So Moana's got the full 221 on for the estimates and for the total, but then Wicked coming in with 117. Oh, and 226, 262. That's its totals currently, or is that for the 5-day for Wicked?
So the red is everything. It's gross, domestic gross.
Gotcha.
So Wicked 262 is last week and this week.
I understand.
And everything
Okay,
else
cool.
is just total. I'm sorry, I should have.
No, 100%. I'm the silly person who needed clarification. But after second place, we're no longer in the 100 millions, and we go all the way down to 44 million with Gladiator 2, holding on strong, even if it doesn't have a decent character in it. But then we got Red One with 18 million, still lingering because we're not allowed to have nice things. And Best Christmas Pageant Ever went from 6th place last week up to 5th place after losing 500 theaters. I think that's cause for celebration. Good for the little movie that could. But yeah, $5 million. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it's wild, and part of it is the holiday weekend. But everything in the top 5, even if you include the top 8, Heretic only lost 57% in 8th place.
Based.
That's sick.
Wicked dropped 29%. Gladiator 2 dropped 44%. Red One dropped 2%. The Best Christmas Pageant Ever dropped 4%. While leapfrogging. So I don't know. People were saving their theater time until this weekend.
Yes. Didn't it open to like 100 and was it 100 and or yeah, was it 111 or what was yeah, so it's like I don't know, even the second weekend on Wicked is just above that. Yeah, I didn't predict this. I was way off.
Well, speaking of the little film that could and continues to, Wild Robot is still in the top 10, dropping 68%, losing 1,227 theaters.
How many is it on?
And it's I don't know for sure. Oh yes, I do know.
883.
883, yes. And it's also available on streaming. So, that is amazing. That is amazing for the Wild Robot.
Yeah, I don't know how to
flick.
And people just keep watching it in the theater. I mean, granted, it's 670,000 for the weekend in 9th, So
Well, it's entirely because people keep buying tickets for it instead of Terrifier 3 so that they can then sneak into Terrifier 3,
oh,
you
is
know?
that still that all right, that makes
It's
sense.
still a thing. It's still a
Even
thing.
though
It's
Terrifier 3 isn't a
Maybe they're sneaking into Red One.
that's what I would do actually.
that would be amazing. we do not condone that here at Show Business, but that would be amazing.
Marcy again. 17 Danish
Oh
krona.
yeah.
Talk. I have heard Ridley Scott wants to make Gladiator 3.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
rumblings.
Celebrated an
No,
83rd birthday this week.
Oh, that's right. So he's 83
Sure.
now, huh?
So
Yes.
maybe not. Maybe he won't do it.
I don't
Well,
know.
I don't know. He makes films 11 times faster than everybody else.
Yeah,
so
but he just turned old
who
enough to be
knows?
president.
He definitely left it open to where you could see this story continuing on to where there could be a third one. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he will eventually get to that. This was way more successful than anything else he's done recently. But we'll see if he gets to there.
But
Like
Ridley
Rosales
Scott,
mentioned,
I would love for
you're betting against time there.
he's always talking about like the 6 projects he has in front of him, and it's like, dude, you're gonna die soon. can you stop planning all this shit?
In his defense, like he shot Gladiator 2 in like 51 days or something like that. Like he doesn't spend
That's
that
impressive.
long on each project.
Is that a
It's
flex?
11 times faster than everybody else. It is. Mind it is. You
You
will
get
never
3
see
takes,
anybody
that's
who
it.
gets.
We're moving on.
Great.
It was 2 takes. No, like Paul Mescal had this thing where he was saying like, I think it was Reset, where he would kind of try and get a third take in there by yelling Reset, so like they'd never actually cut, just go right back to the beginning of it. And Ridley
I
pulled
like
him aside
that.
and it's like, I know what you're doing. So yeah, he does not like people taking 3 takes. So
And just to give
I
a
don't
little
know.
context for that. Oh, go ahead.
he's
sorry.
11 times faster than everybody else. It is a flex.
So that 51-day thing, that's impressive, or super impressive, I'd say, because like if you look at Mad Max Furiosa, they spent, I think it was 60 days shooting the chase scene where there's like the aerial thing going after Furiosa and knockoff Mad Max when they get the war rig up and running, if you know which action scene I'm talking about. So that's nuts, just right there.
It's also studio friendly, just to give you an idea of where the power dynamic is there.
I mean, studios like things early and under budget, right?
Yeah. So it's
And he did come in under budget and right on schedule.
Kevin
yeah.
Smith has
Well,
repeatedly said the reason he's able to keep making movies despite, the wild inconsistencies is that he always makes his money. He not one of his movies has ever flopped.
relatively speaking, sure.
Oh yes, relatively. I mean, well, when he said studio money involved, maybe like Yoga Hosers didn't make
Dude,
that
Zach and Miri, didn't Zach and Miri like only make like 40 million or something, and they dumped 35 into marketing that movie?
Jesus,
I think something like that. But also, it was kind of bad because I know certain states, redder ones, kind of banned it. So I don't know that it necessarily got like the best release that it could have. That just sucks.
If Ridley Scott could knock another 20 days off his films, he could go to work for Hallmark.
Ugh.
I hear good things about Netflix's version of those Hallmark movies. That Hot Frosty was all the talk at my Thanksgiving thing.
Oh, speaking of an exorbitant amount of Christmas films, has anyone seen Dear Santa with Jack Black?
I did. So it's a return back to both Fairley Brothers. I thought it was rather enjoyable. It's not, like their early work. Like we're not getting some gross out humor. Like it is a little bit more with heart. But man, now I'm forgetting which one it is. But one of the Fairleys is in like 2 of my favorite comedies of the year. Not only did he do Ricky Stenicki earlier this year, but Dear Santa is it's cute. I can understand why certain people would be not the biggest fan of it. It is The premise is the kid misspells Santa, accidentally writes the letter to the wrong person. But hilarity ensues from there. I thought it was rather heartfelt, but it was an actual comedy. I think they're few and far between this year.
I'm intrigued, and I think if anyone can balance the line between making a movie where a kid writes a Santa letter to Satan and manages to be funny with it, I think while I think it's the Forellis from the 90s, I think with Jack Black as Santa, I'm very intrigued, and it's coming to VOD here Tuesday. So I'm intrigued and want to see it. But if I guess if you have a theater that's playing, because it's nowhere on the top 20.
No, it's already on digital here in the United States.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's on Prime is how I think I watched it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I expected
Tuesday.
I expected it to be on at the theaters when they started seeing the advertising, but then when I saw on digital Tuesday, one of those type of advertisements, I was like, "Ooh, they just gave right up."
Is he warbling for anybody else, or is it just me?
A little bit of warble. Results, you're in the warble zone.
What is that?
It sounds like you're underwater. Yeah, and some of it is clear, and then some of it's not, and then some of it's clear, and then some of it's not.
Warble. Right, let me see what I can do to fix that.
Well, there's your problem.
But yeah, I happened to watch it on digital. I'm damn sure it was through Prime, but I thought it was funny. So I'd be interested to hear your kind of take on it. It's definitely not like Dumb and Dumber or something about Mary, but
right.
I don't know. It felt like it was kind of in the vein of like School of Rock type deal. Like it's a little bit more heartfelt. So I don't know. I kind of dug it.
What about Shallow Hal? Over under Shallow Hal for comedy?
Way over for me.
Okay.
It's even got a good Kyle Gass, the other dude from Tenacious D, guest appearance, and I thought his cameo was pretty great.
All right, so
wait a minute, guys. Hold on. Shallow Hal is peak comedy. Are you saying that this movie is funnier than the movie that made 100,000 fat jokes and nothing else?
I'm saying
product of its time, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Like at the time I loved it, but I tried watching it like a year or two ago, and I'm like, I can't. I have to turn this off.
Yeah. So I'll
for the warble.
Continue.
Is this any better for the warble? Has the warble disappeared? Okay.
It has, but for a second it sounded like you were across the room. But now we're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well done.
So I will make it my job when Emily's at work. I will get Satan watched, and we can do Rent and Rant next week. For
those are not the type of movies you're supposed to watch when the wife is out.
Well,
don't tell him what to do. He's his own man.
Evening, Adam.
Good evening, Adam.
Hello, sir.
So we're kind of avoiding the big heavy hitter this week, and I didn't see it. So you guys run amok.
Yeah, Lindsay, were you super impressed?
I really wasn't. I think I counted in the first 10 minutes of this movie, they reiterated the plot of Moana 1 3 times. One of them basically back to back. Like they finished explaining the plot and then almost immediately explained it again. I was flabbergasted. This is not a good movie.
Okay.
What about you, Greg? Quick thoughts.
I hear what you're saying. But this time the pig was included on the boat. Come on.
And that was cute.
So
I do like.
They heard what the audience said. They heard the complaint about the first
like
one.
We've got two representations of the audience and the critics, because from what I could discern online from the audience reviews, audiences have shown strong support for the film. According to Rotten Tomatoes, they report 89% verified audience score, indicating widespread approval, while the Metacritic's user reviews reflect positive feedback. On the other hand, the Rotten Tomato critics stand at 66%, suggesting a divided reception, which is what we've got right here, guys. and doesn't quite match the original's charm. As a matter of fact, the New York Times described it as a flabby rehash, while the New York Post found it wishy-washy. That's
Well,
my
Yeah.
contribution.
isn't that like knowing too much about the production too? Like, was it, you said it last week, Rosales? It was supposed to be a series.
Yes, that is correct. It was supposed to be a series, and basically what they did was they cut up a bunch of shorts and put them together as a feature film. And most likely they juggled the plots, the beginning, middle, and ends, to create this nice little lattice work that would carry the film all the way through, with a through line going all the way through it. And with that, each episode of a cartoon, for the most part, will do what Lindsay says they did, which is rehash a bunch of stuff to contextualize what's going on with the audience, because the audience is for watching Disney shows are what, 4? So they need reminding of what happened on the
could
DVD.
be.
And
I
so
mean, some people are older.
a lot of the work came in, you gotta admire the editors who put this thing together and cobbled out 90 minutes worth of stuff and fluff into a fully fledged and quite thoroughly enjoyed by millions of people, this film. Because
I disagree.
Yeah,
a
I-
good
think
portion of
millions of
people
people-
reviewed it and millions saw it, but I don't know that it was enjoyed by all. There were a bunch of parts in it, like you're saying, where they do kind of like recap it. But there's not as many as I would kind of expect from a whole season of television. But from how this plays out, I'm pretty sure the season would have still been the structure of, like the first one is her becoming a wayfinder. There's a much similar thing that's kind of the overarching like plot of this. I'm pretty sure it would have just kept moving towards that. And then I'm sure that's where the recapping comes in, because is everyone going to watch a recap of every episode, or do you just kind of refresh their memory? But it is interesting. There's more characters this time, but I guess the one thing that they really had to cut was kind of character development. So you were going to get these characters more fleshed out and get a lot more time. But they said the one thing that this did give them is they thoroughly knew these characters. So they knew what would keep the character the most in a lot of the cutting. So I don't know. It is kind of impressive if this was a season. It does seem like a very cohesive story. It doesn't feel like, okay, this is obviously where this episode ended and this one starts, to me. But that being said, it is nowhere near as enjoyable as the first one. I can't remember one musical from this. I can remember a couple of them, a couple songs from the first one that it like references.
You're welcome.
And that was kind of the best part of it. But that first one, they had Lin-Manuel Miranda like writing the music on it, man, it's got at least 2 pieces that are super memorable for me. But I don't see that with this one. It doesn't feel like it's quite on par for me. But I guess I was watching the behind the scenes thing, and there is this writing duo that kind of took over all the musicals for this. They did the unofficial Bridgerton one before this, but they did say that some of their best stuff did have to get cut because it was for scenes that essentially made no sense in this now. So that does kind of suck. If they were really impressed with what they did and then that one has to get cut, that's never the artist's best intention. I know they definitely didn't do that with, say, Lin-Manuel Miranda's best one from the last one.
Lindsay,
Yeah, the music. Well, actually, a quick question before I hop into it. Do you guys hear stuff in the background of me, or is it just me?
You might want to speak to your therapist about that.
Okay, no, my dad's watching TV in the other room, and it's really
Are
loud.
the voices encouraging you to do anything?
No, it seems like it's cutting them out.
People. Oh, sorry, what?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just wanted to make sure people couldn't hear Dad's cartoonishly loud. I think it's Titanic he's watching in the other room. But no, the music. No, that was the other thing. I wanted to make sure that we weren't getting enough coming through to get us in trouble in any case.
Well, I've got holiday children wrestling in the background, so there might be that. Maybe you're.
I never heard of that movie.
It's not a movie.
It's a classic.
It's a live theater production going on right now in the game room. So
But no, but getting back on topic here with Gray, I completely 100% agree. The music in this was painfully forgettable. I think like the last couple of songs were pretty good, although they might have been helped out because they had some fun like visuals going along with the music. But I don't really remember the beats of any of them. I don't remember the rhythm, but like you said, I still remember You're Welcome. I still remember that opening song who has a name that I couldn't pronounce even if I tried. I remember the I Am Moana song. Shiny is great. Yeah, there's some legit the bangers in the original. The music that plays when Tahiti or the god is turned back from evil to good. Spoilers. There's some really great music in there, and it's the moment I walked out of the theater, so much of it went out of my head. Like I know I'm not. I don't spoilers for the 8-year-old
for the first one. Yeah.
I kind of
I lost track of time. I didn't realize that it was 8 years ago. Did you realize it was 8 years ago that first one was? Because
you're telling me time. It's time's a crazy thing.
So
there was the pseudo villain in the, go ahead.
Well, no, you're talking about the movie. Go ahead. I just have nonsense talk.
So one of the weirdest things about this movie for me was there's a villain in this that doesn't do anything villainous and doesn't really have a point in this movie outside of doing a Marvel setup for a sequel. I'm assuming you know who I'm talking about, Gray. Like that character had no purpose in this movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that it got cut out, that there is more of an issue, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of the characters were underutilized, probably because it was the kind of character part that got cut out. I'm assuming that's also that for that character, but maybe I'm giving him too much credit. But you're right. It felt very kind of superfluous. Like we could have just gotten to the actual story. But again, if this was an entire season that they cut down, the editing in this is amazing. It felt like a cohesive story to me. Could you pick out like where an episode would start and stop?
I have theories, and part of me wants to go see it again, but just so I can make some quick notes and then see if I can make a video kind of piecing that together, because there's definitely like segments that it's like, okay, so this bit would be an episode when it's everyone's on the sea and they're arguing, and then they get attacked by these other guys, like that whole thing could have been one episode. There could have been I don't want to get into it right too much because it would be spoilers, but I kind of got the sense of like a pseudo episodic feeling, because the way that things are kind of lead into each other and never get mentioned again, lead into each other and then they kind of not really matter that much. And what's funny is because we keep talking about the characters not really being used, I think my favorite character was the coconut guy, because like he didn't need a lot of characterization. He's just there being cute, and he was the best character in the whole movie.
Yeah, those things were the funnest part of the first one too, though.
That's very true, and it was nice seeing them get fleshed out.
Is this a case of just bulletproof family films? Because I mean, for as long as I
think so. Did you feel like there's anything special with this one, Lindsay, as to why this would be like in the 200s? To me, it feels like it is just that family thing, but this one doesn't feel that special. That's why I was thinking, since I'd heard nothing but good things about Wicked, that would be at least splitting kind of the audience. Mm-hmm. But man, just I think this caught the right wave, so to speak. But there is a huge audience behind this, and there is a huge push. When I went to Hawaii a couple years ago, like they do have this life-size version of like the raft and everything, and it's a huge attraction. People seem to love it. It's a lot bigger than I thought over there, and they did this huge premiere over there for it, and that seemed to be getting a huge amount of publicity. So there is a bigger audience than I had anticipated for this, but I think almost anything. 100%. If you put Wild Robot this weekend, I think it would have killed it too, though.
That's true too, but Moana does have a very stealth audience, I think, because like in the age where the Star Wars hotel failed, the Moana hotel, as far as I know, is doing very well.
It's just called Hawaii.
Well, yeah. Okay. Charles, don't make it go sit in the corner.
You go to Hawaii and the Moana hotel.
Okay. If you put it like that, but I do. I've kind of always thought that there was kind of a stealth thing for this movie, and I guess we are kind of seeing confirmation for that a little bit. But I also feel like this movie is
Yeah.
going to fall off a bit of a cliff, and it's going to definitely join the club of. I mean, if it makes $1 billion, of $1 billion movies that make you go, that made $1 billion.
Dude,
Like,
it smashed Thanksgiving records previously owned by
yes.
Frozen. Worldwide, something was reported yesterday that France, Moana 2 had the
So
strongest one day since Force Awakens. So, Force Awakens, that's almost 10 years ago. There's this, I don't know what it is about this. I mean, I'm with you. Nothing about it said, oh yeah, this is going to be a nasty $200+ million movie, but I don't think it matters anymore. I just think if it's somewhat familiar and a family film, the critic scores don't matter because like the Despicable Me movies, they're not really well lauded, but they still perform rather strongly. I just think familiar and family, and Fast and the Furious, they just they just I don't know.
And Barbie.
I had not given that any kind of consideration when I went into my over/under. You're exactly right about that because I have
I said 7
Charles. Yes, the familial familiarity of it all. The fact that it's a children's movie and that there's families that are going to go see it, and that, like Gray kind of alluded to, these types of films are what in the print business you would call evergreen. They're always going to make a certain amount of money if you stay within a certain budget, which of course they didn't.
A certain amount, sure, but like breaking records, like who saw this?
Everybody who didn't want to go to the news or watch CNN.
So I think a certain amount of it's the weekend, though. Like, look at Wicked; it only dropped 29, and then it still made more this weekend than Beetlejuice made its opening weekend. Like, and Beetlejuice was taking #1 that weekend. So
yeah.
I don't know. This weekend did a ton for it, but yeah, I'd have to think it's just a family-friendly movie released right on that day is going to just kill it. But it's very unpredictable. I took the under on this. I took a huge loss. I did not anticipate 220 whatever. So I thought I'm even if I'm off, I'm going to be off by like 10 or so. Like it's going to be like 150 at most. So I was way wrong.
It's a good thing we don't put real money on this game.
Yeah, we're not a financial agency, by the way.
We're not. We do not condone gambling unless it's.
Well, apparently you can bet on those.
Oh, I in Vegas, I bet you definitely could.
Do not take my advice or bet against what I'm saying. You'll do much better.
Yes, we are not financial advisors.
No,
we are not a fiduciary. Question about this movie's budget for you guys, though, because the reported budget is $150 million. And in my opinion, there's no way that's accurate.
Well, they kind of got the animation studio in Vancouver like started. So I think some of that budget goes into like kind of creating that team and making that a viable location for their animation. And it might switch like almost all of California's to Vancouver.
Hollywood accounting.
Interesting, but
that, and you have to consider the fact that they've been editing for 7 straight months nonstop to try to cobble together what is, according to Gray, I'm guessing, is a rudimentary film with a significant or sufficient through line of a story. And even though it's got its edges, they did put something together that I thought was incredibly not possible. I said when they announced this that they would be announcing a delay around this time period as opposed to
don't do that much anymore.
No,
delays aren't very popular.
Very rare.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously they made the right choice. Like even with 150 into this, like opening weekend, I think they're in the. Well, I guess it depends how much they put into marketing, which I didn't see anything for this. But
I think they put some money into it.
They definitely had to put a little bit of money.
I don't know if it's. you think it's double the budget, like they say with a lot of other things? This, I know they did a huge premiere in Hawaii, which definitely didn't cost nothing. That's got to be big in their advertising budget. But I swear I didn't see as many advertisements for this as I did for like Wild Robot and a bunch of other ones.
Dude, the total worldwide is already 386. So if you're going to make it 300 with the marketing, it's
fair enough. They're at least in the yeah.
But again,
they made the right choice. Like, I can't see this bringing in that many Disney Plus subscribers. It looks like they definitely made the right choice to bring this into a movie.
Well,
that's definitely true. I agree with that. But do we really think it? Because like, how much? So that 150 that includes getting it like what 75% of the way done to being a TV show, and then reconverting it back into being a movie, and that only cost $150 million. That's I don't.
But they're not done. You brought it up before about a villain not really feeling like that they were done.
True.
They still have the live action thing that they could have just ported over some more of the TV show stuff to. No.
Well, here's a good question. Here's a good question that I have. And this has to go with the marketing and the partnering. Wicked had a $500 million marketing partner campaign. Okay. And that means that they got from their marketing partners and licensing and all of the stuff out there that's all Wicked, including everything in Target and all of the stuff that was labeled for that stuff, over $500 million to them, I'm assuming. And I say that because it says here in Deadline that there was also a $100 million worldwide promotional partner campaign curated by Lyle Brayer, Disney EVP of partnerships. So they've offset already with their partnerships $100 million, unless I'm incredibly malinformed. And they spent $100 million with their promotional partners.
Wicked
which movie?
or
I'm
Moana?
sorry, are we talking about Moana or Wicked? Yeah.
500 million for Wicked, 100 million for Moana. So that's what they have in their what did they call it? Let me do it one more time. I got to come back over to this tab. Worldwide promotional partner campaign. So if this reads the way I'm taking it, although I could be taking it wrong, it means that they've received $100 million from partners, licensing products, and so on.
That helps with advertising.
Kind of normal.
Production. Yeah.
Yeah. Any Sony film, you'll see Coca-Cola very prominently featured. Well, I mean, they'll throw PlayStation in anything that it's a Columbia film. So,
yeah.
Like there's.
But if you have a $350 million movie, like say in, I think that's what Wicked was. I could be mistaken, but it's up there in the 100 millions to make. And then you have, have a partnership program that brings in 500 million. You're kind of starting in the green, aren't you? When you get out to theaters, you're really offsetting the rest of your promotional costs with that.
They have very good accountants. Very good accountants.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they'll never make any money.
They're at 145 million is what the budget is estimated. So I don't know. With marketing, I'm sure it's somewhere near the same.
I would.
Go ahead,
Lindsay.
No, I was just going to say, like, maybe that's Hollywood accounting. That's how they're doing this. Maybe the grand total for making this thing making this thing into a series and then making it into a movie that it ends up being way more than $150 million. But because they're doing Hollywood accounting and they're splitting the cost over two movies, maybe, it's you kind of get what I'm saying. So they're going to kind of split the cost between this one and Moana 3, I guess, because there is a very big plug for Moana 3 at the end of this movie that the director has said on record they thought of like a month ago. I don't think either of us said it, but like Moana, it was known for like amazing, like kind of digital effects. And then when this comes in,
My God, this is the best like digital water I've seen in a long time.
Oh,
Like I
it's
guess
incredible.
since James Cameron. It's still pretty. It's just I don't know. I guess it's kind of the plot, the songs, like everything feels like it's a step down for me. But it looks
Mhm.
beautiful. And apparently they have this engine ready to go. So I think a lot of this research stuff will lead into the third one being a lot cheaper than this. But
But
I don't
so they have a live action that's coming out
Mhm.
soon, and a
Mhm.
Yeah,
third
but
one.
this could be the first one. Come on, that's in the past. We're talking about this future
Yeah.
one though.
Wow.
Yeah, they're tripling down on Moana right now.
I
So
wouldn't
it makes
you?
sense. No, like I said, there's that stealth audience
No,
out there that
the
like
Rock
I
is
mean,
gonna
not,
push. The Rock is gonna push to make sure that Disney belongs to him now. He could not get, DC and the WB, so he's going after Disney.
Eh, I would like to see the live action not. I mean, I'd like to see a bunch of things for The Rock's asking price. Contradict that, but it would be
mhm.
interesting if the live action doesn't do nearly as well as the animated films. We want to hear your voice, Rock. We don't want to see your face.
That would be interesting. Like if the live action one ends up like doing like half of all this stuff that these animated ones are doing, that would definitely send a message about what people think of The Rock. Fingers crossed for that.
And it's
Uh,
wild
I
because
mean, it's an 8-year-old film though. Like, so I didn't even think it had been 8 years, but like, so if it's coming out either next year or the year after, like it's 10 years old at best. Do we need a
no,
live action version of a 10-year-old film?
that's a
Like for The Lion
fascinating idea
King,
because
I mean, I don't think you need it either, but you could argue it's been 30 years. Like, are these kids going to be that entertained by some old cartoon? I think they would be, but there's an argument for updating it or whatever. But no, eight
that's
years
actually
seems short
fascinating
to
because
me.
imagine like a remake of The Force Awakens right now. Like if someone went and did like an animated remake of The Force Awakens, that
can
would feel weird and unnecessary, right?
no, no. As
No,
long as
no,
they
you want that?
do different things for the eighth and ninth film. That's all. I'm down. What do I sign?
Oh, okay. Well, if you put it like that, where we're going to make some changes to the canon or to the timeline, I guess I'm definitely down for that.
Cohesive trilogy. My one
No
note.
Maz Kanata.
So
Star
no
Wars
stunt
died the
casting of
moment Maz
directors.
Kanata. Yeah, that's
I
it.
I just the fact that it's not like this is just the best thing to happen to family films post COVID. There are stats that going back to Frozen, going back to France,
Mhm.
it being the strongest performer since 2015. You have Avengers movies in there. The big event. The 2 point whatever billion performing Avengers movies that this is doing stronger than. Like,
Mhm.
what about this franchise is that strong?
I think it's the character
I
Moana
mean,
herself.
I
She's like
think
really
this is. I'm sorry. Please go ahead, Lindsay.
Oh, I mean, like it's really her front and center this entire thing. Like, what was the main iconic song going into the original Moana? I am Moana. The song, the voice actress is front and center for a whole heck of a lot of the promotional stuff for this. She goes and opens up all the Moana hotels, and the design of the character is based on her too.
Wait,
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know how or what the formula is. But I think something about the character of Moana and her strength and her drive, and the fact that maybe it's the fact that she doesn't have a boyfriend in any of these. Really, like maybe it's like there's something about her because she's very. She's all about going out and getting things. Maybe that's what it is. I
so
don't know, but I think it's the character. I think it's the lead. Go ahead.
why is this not woke then? If what you're saying is true about the character.
Oh, it's woke as hell. It's super woke.
Oh,
It's incredibly woke. I'd also
okay.
argue that she's one of the most powerful superheroes ever to exist. Her superpower is the ocean does what she wants. Think about how big the ocean is and how destructive she could get if she felt like it.
Have you been
She's
around a
she
woman
has to
that
incredibly
has
over
ask
the
that?
the
top.
ocean to do it. Sorry, that was
That's
everybody
true.
the same.
I get. You are correct. She has to ask the ocean to do it, but I'm pretty sure if she asked the ocean nicely enough, it would flood New York. I'm just saying,
Do it now. If you're gonna do it
Yeah,
now.
do it now. Right, just right now. Don't mo-
What were you
but
saying,
no,
Rick?
I
Yeah,
think. Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
I mean, I
Supergirl
think you
boss
could
character.
also
That's
make
all
the
I'm saying.
arguments that like the first one is not woke or whatever because she needs the man, the powerful man Maui to come in. He is a demigod, like he's not just some man, but I don't know. It just seemed like it was a cute story. It had some really memorable songs, so I don't know. I think a lot of people look fondly back on the memory of Moana. I know I didn't hate it, but yeah, I wasn't exactly crying for a sequel, and I don't know. I guess I don't see the purpose, but looking at the box office, I see the purpose. It's more than made its money back, and it's not getting out of theaters anytime soon. I think this holiday season is going to be Moana too.
Well, I didn't realize there were hotels. How many Moana hotels are there?
I think there's a couple.
I know
apparently
it's
Oahu. It's a good name. I mean, it's a good name for one. There's like an ancient one there. It's a historic hotel built in 1901, the Moana Hotel. So it has absolutely nothing to do with the film, but there it is. So,
but I think they've got a Disney resort on Oahu, and then I think they might have one on Maui, if I remember right. But
the one on Oahu,
they've got a couple of them.
That's the Dharma Initiative that you're thinking of.
It kind of seems like it. It looks beautiful, but yeah, it's very touristy, but I guess that's the place, man. And then you could also have it Lilo and Stitch themed as well.
I see. I don't know what upsets me more, the fact that Disney fell backwards into a very successful weekend, or The Rock, who very arrogantly did the red one.
And good with voice work, man. It usually goes over well.
Does he? What voice work has he done? This and
Moana?
League of Super Pets?
Moana.
Yeah, okay, so Moana 2 and League of Super Pets. Any others?
He has. It would take me a second, but I swear he's been successful in something else.
Yeah, he played an astronaut in one film. There was an astronaut film that he was where he visited an alien planet and was the aggressor in that whole situation.
Not Mars versus Mars,
by the way,
something like that.
No.
I was mistaken. It's only one hotel. I guess I just saw multiple promotions for that same hotel.
That's slightly better.
Voice actress. Yeah, but it's actually not even an entirely dedicated hotel. It's their Polynesian resort was switched over to be heavily themed after Moana once the movie had come out and was a huge hit.
See, that's why I ask somewhat sarcastically, because when I think of people complaining of that W word, I think people of color, not men, so on and so forth. And Moana is all of that, yet is successful, and the audience likes it. So what?
I don't think it emasculates the men, though. Like, there are still powerful men. Like in the first one and this one, like the chief is powerful. He's just restrictive or whatever. She wants to go on her own way, but he's not like a weak man or whatever. I don't know. I think a lot of the ways that they would say like there's no strong men in a lot of things is what makes it kind of woke. I don't think you could argue that here. So I don't remember that argument, but it was 8 years ago. So that was just kind of getting the fire started. But I haven't heard that argument.
There definitely wasn't like a Captain Marvel style backlash to Moana being a girl boss. But I think it's kind of also hard to kind of get around, because she literally goes up and grabs a demigod by the ear and starts bossing him around, and he does what she says.
Mary Sue.
Yeah, exactly.
Mary Sue, except she controls water. We just call that periods where I come from.
Well, she does have a magic jewel, so
she does. And an adorable little sister. The best parts of Moana 2, unequivocally, are Moana and her sister. Like that relationship between the two of them really got it. Really carried me through that first act where nothing is happening and they just kind of repeat the plot from the first one over and over and over again. The scenes between the two of them saved the movie. Yeah, but like the little sister was the one that really got me. It's a very cliche relationship with the little sibling being scared that the big sibling's not going to come back. But there's something between the way that it's animated and the voice acting that it was the best part of the movie.
Animated?
It was animated very, very well. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess I was wrong. I thought he did something else. So yeah, it looks like it is Moana, and then he was in Transformers Prime and Planet 51. So I was wrong. It looks like
Planet
he had money in the
51.
Moanas. I don't think that was like a huge like.
Oh, well, that's the one that Rosales was talking about, I think, where he's
Yeah.
an astronaut, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess a general question is this bad for our yearning for new original content?
Yes.
Yeah,
because it's
but
going to make
when we
Disney
looked
double
at
down on the fact.
for sure. No, and that's exactly what my answer is going to be. Like, yes, and it's going to make them double down. But when you look at like everyone that we talked about, like the top earners of the year, there's like one original one. I think everything else is all sequels or reboot quills, whatever you want to call it. It's known IP. Yeah. I think this just tells them, yes, they can do that. And that's what they should be focusing on.
And Wild Robot will be, I would assume, a franchise at this point.
It has to be, and it's set up for that too. Like literally at one point you see that there's as many of them as there are the Meeseeks. Like you don't have to do the same story, but there could be many of them. It's kind of awesome. It makes sense to me. Like that seems like a franchise I would get behind. I would definitely watch another of those.
I keep meaning to see it, and I just don't. Meanwhile, the rest
it's cute. There's nothing wrong with that one.
Yeah, you say Meeseeks, and I'm there. Even though it's not a Rick and Morty property. The interesting thing is Wicked, while being out a week longer, internationally speaking, hasn't hit 100 million yet. So worldwide, it's actually behind.
Because I've been hearing nothing but buzz of trying to get them nominations. Like this is like one of the performances of the year, if not two of them, if not supporting and best actress.
See, I really feel like with musicals, things get a little fuzzy.
Wasn't Moana technically a musical as well? And didn't it just kill France or whatever? Kill in France, excuse me.
It murdered France in its face.
So and also, just to clarify, some international intrigue. You know, it's the most acclaimed Broadway musical in years, and it finally made it to the motion pictures. Why wouldn't it break 100 million? That really baffles my mind. I would have thought for sure way better.
Also, just to point out, it's at 97 million, so it's almost at 100 million. It's getting there, but yeah, it's not quite there yet. Yeah,
it's been out a week longer, and Moana 2's what 150 internationally. So, I as much as I expect children's movies or family movies to do well, this confuses me. I don't know. I don't know anything about anything. It's the long and short of it.
And yeah, that's why I was completely wrong in my predictions, but I thought it would be somewhat flipped. I thought at least if it was going to slightly lean towards Moana 2, like Wicked was still going to take a good portion of that. And it did good, but nowhere near as good. Like it practically doubled it. So I don't know. I just didn't see that anticipation, that type of reaction from Moana 2.
So it turns out
wildest dream, actually. I just figured it out. Wicked,
the pig,
hasn't opened in China yet.
That would explain it.
But it has. You know what has opened in China? Moana 2.
Moana 2.
It only made 6.5 million, but it's open there.
So
in your wildest dreams, would either of you have assumed that this would be making over 200 million this weekend?
I mean, it's one of those things that I don't want it to be reality, but I kind of also knew it was going to be reality on some level.
I think the thing that puzzles me more is between the top two, it's over $300 million. Like, forget last week, forget this year's Oppenheimer, Barbenheimer. It's Moana Kid.
Moana. Yeah. Let's go with that one.
Wakana.
This is yes. So that is the thing where maybe people did their Barbenheimer this week with two family films, and
it seems like it.
Yeah.
I did. I guess I contributed to this thing. I hadn't
Jerk.
watched either of them last weekend and watched them both in this last week period.
Mhm.
So yeah, what can I say? It got me. I'm part of the problem.
And for the record, I like these movies and these characters and these ideas a lot. Like, there's something about Moana's main tool and weapon being an oar that is so cheesy and corny, but it's also kind of perfect. Her entire personality is based around she will go explore the sea and she don't give a crap if anyone's going to stop her or not. So like there's something about her design and like the intent and like the idea of this world that seems to entirely just be this like oceanic world with just like sporadic islands all over the place. There's interest and cool things there. So I could definitely I get it being in the zeitgeist, but this is still insane amount of money.
I'm not too sure it's a good idea to go back to the very beginning of it with a live action film because you're just restarting the whole thing all over again.
Well, that's all Disney knows how to do:
Yeah.
make original animated things and then remake them into live action, but worse. Oh, got him!
They're like they just fall backwards into favors. Like this is an accident. It was a series, and they're being paid handsomely for their mistake. And I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised if it doesn't matter what the live action does.
It's a fluke that people are going to try to recreate in Hollywood, and they're going to fail miserably, just the same way that they failed miserably trying to recreate the accidental Marvel success in Hollywood. So this right here, doing what it did, is going to inspire a bunch of, if it, at the bare minimum, kids films coming out. Uh, at the height of it, it would be a bunch of kids films about island chicks and demigods.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're going to swing that literally into it, but I think there's going to be a huge
Yeah.
race for the next couple of Thanksgiving Day release days and a huge
was gonna
battle
say-
over. Yeah.
yeah. I
I
think
think that's the lesson they're taking, like family friendly Thanksgiving. Like, hey, if you've got the Wednesday through whatever, you can clean up. That would be.
Yeah.
I don't think they're wrong. I don't think this one is worthy of over 200 million. So, I think the date really helped it.
I would say it's fair to assume. I mean, the writing's been on the wall for a while that for the near future, the family film, the animated film, is the comic book superhero film of the next year or two, because they seem to be safe. Big money into family or animated films, and you're going to perform well because the only thing you could point at this year in the top 10: animated family, animated family, animated family, and I mean, Wild Robot still doing well while being home for 6 weeks now.
Well,
That's
and
insane.
what's Red One? Didn't it have like what was the drop off?
2%.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was it
2%?
3%? And I'm imagining that is going to be on Prime probably by the time that Christmas actually comes around. Maybe I'm
Oh, yeah.
wrong, but
Wild
that didn't
Robot
seem to be
comes
hurting
out on
Wild
DVD
Robot's
on
release.
Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
So
Yep.
I think it's going to stay in theaters while it's on DVD.
Yeah.
I also think it's like a safe bet for theaters, or at least for high ticket sales, because I don't know how if you're going to go to the theater with like a bunch of people, it's probably going to be like a bunch of kids and some parents, and it's going to be like a family outing type of thing to go. So it's pre-packaged big ticket sales, I guess. There's a
But
lot.
what does that say? Because you're bringing in the family to the theater. That's a $100 endeavor, maybe more.
Yes.
That's if you
Yes.
don't buy anything at the concession stand, and that's another $50.
Well, you see, what you
it-
do is the husband, the wife, and the son who's in college all get A-list, and then you do the movies, and so it's like $75 a month, but you can then go to the theater 3 times a week. I don't know. This doesn't work. It doesn't. I'm just spitballing here.
If only there was a pass we could.
I think the better example to take on would be the Wild Robot, because the longer a movie stays in the theaters, the better it is for the theaters. And if the theaters are going to survive, they need more films like that are going to stick around, regardless of whether or not they go to streaming and then to a digital release and DVD and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They need films that are going to be films.
I think theaters have a little bit of, I don't know if I would say leverage there. They're getting favors on their behalf. Like Inside Out 2 had a 100-day window that they signed.
Wow.
Where 100 days of Inside Out 2. I mean, I think if you're part of NATO, the National Association of Theater Owners, you try to get more lengthy deals as far as the children's films are concerned. I mean, yeah, the Wild Robot, they must be making 95% of those ticket prices. Granted, it's below $1 million at this point, but
yeah,
they're making most of that money.
It's always funny to me when people talk about how it's an even 50-50 split between theaters and studios, because the longer it's in theaters, the more this theater makes. I'm like, yeah, but if the theater's getting 80% of the $50 million opening, that's like what, $35 million, and the theater's just going to get less and less. No, it does not even out. Like if you're lucky, it ends up being 60-40, but no, it's always in the studio's favor.
Yeah, long term. Yeah, there's a reason popcorn is 25 cents to make and $7 to buy a small.
Do you think theaters will ever try and do
it's only
something like comedy
more.
clubs?
Come on.
Once more,
it's like you have a $2 like you have like a $2 snack bar minimum purchase.
2 drink minimum,
yeah, or like a two item. You have to get at least 1 drink and 1 popcorn, or one candy and 1 hot dog, or something like that at the snack bar.
Yeah, I don't know. The person who wants to see more things like The Substance and Strange Darling, I feel like if I want to see those things at a theater, we're in trouble. Because
I'm glad that Heretic is still out there and is still up in the I think it's 7 or something. 8th. So I'm glad it's still in the top 10, but yeah, you'd be making a lot more money as a theater having Wild Robot, I'm sure, than Heretic, which just comes and goes.
So,
Also, fun fact, but we need to bring this up here, but there's been a $5 theater here in Pasadena for decades, and it's always like second, third run movies, that have been in theaters for a while, but not anymore. That $5 theater is getting new releases now. I mean, the screen is kind of crappy, so it's not really my go-to. I adore it. Some of my favorite movie-going experiences ever have been at that theater, but it also at one point was like one mega screen that they then like chopped the building up so it could have like 6 tinier screens. So it's a little silly sometimes, but it's an adorable theater. But the fact that they're getting first-run movies at $5 a ticket is insane to me. And like that to me is crazy. The biggest shift in the market I've ever heard.
I think that might be the
Is it just the overabundance? Sorry, Charles.
No.
So you think it's the future? Is it just because of the overabundance? Is that the future?
Yeah,
possibly.
It used to be that theaters were just trying to get anything that was new. Now it seems like both studios and theaters have found their comfortable spot, which is family films. So anything else, like your genre films, nobody, studios don't want to make them. And it seems like if you're a theater owner, why would you want to give precious screen time to this little thing that's only going to make $10 million? I mean, Terrifier 3.
Terrifier 3.
Yeah, makes it 1,000% on its budget, but it's only 56 million if you're the theaters.
Those opening screenings, though, they were packed, and people were dressed up. It was a good time, but
see. Yeah, you're talking about the experience. You're not like.
Yeah,
we're here about this.
Wild Robot's still in the theater though. That one's not. I'd have to think that even if it's not a packed theater every time, they're making more of a percentage on it. So they're probably making more on Wild Robot than they would having like anything else in there.
But so that's where Lindsay's thing comes in. We have the IFC theater in New York City. There's a couple of theaters in New York City that they're really about the craft. There's probably going to be these cinemas that open up.
Sir, come on.
There's probably going to be these theaters that open up that are going to be geared towards cinema and far less an amusement park type thing.
That'd be kind of cool. Mine
Yeah.
kind of did the opposite. We used to have what were called like the dollar theaters, but I think it was like $2.50 or something by the time they shut them down. But yeah,
Dollar.
I can't remember which one bought them out, but then put in like the luxury recliners. So you've got like now a third of the seating or something like that, but they're expensive as hell, really tiny screens. I don't know. I'm not sure that I like that. It would have been awesome if we could get that second run one. There's a lot of these that I didn't hear about in the couple weeks that it was in theaters, and hell, I wish I could see them now. I wish we had like a second run thing here, but
Don't forget
I
though, when
saw
you have
Donnie
those
Darko there.
seats,
that would be
I was
awesome.
gonna
I would have loved to see Donnie Darko in a theater.
when you have those
Yeah, no,
recliner seats, they also come with those avocado flatbread pizzas.
True.
Yeah, I am the enemy when it comes to the food at the theaters.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I just keep it simple: pretzels, popcorn, hot dog. You don't need anything else.
Dude, AMC has this like movie poster size pretzel thing, and it's awesome.
Oh, I
Hot
can
and
imagine.
chewy. Oh,
Oof.
That is awesome.
I usually go for the little pretzel bites, but the big one like that sounds really good.
dude, it's Emily and I would split one. It's just carbs. Just imagine a truck
delicious.
tire.
Just
What are like
$17
product spread on carbs?
Yeah, it's expensive. It's just bread. They're robbing you blind, but man, it tastes good. Just imagine a truck tire made of pretzel. That's what they're handing you.
Mm.
Oh,
Hot, fresh
Nice.
pretzel.
Base.
I'm just saying, it's the best part of going to the mall. Like, I hate going to the mall, but that pretzel smell, it makes it all worth it.
You know, I can't remember the last time actually, no, that's not true. Because I was with my mom, I
Uh-oh.
went to a mall. But before I was with my mom and she insisted on
That
taking
me?
me shopping one day, I don't remember the last time I went to a mall to do
Yeah, I think
something
it's
other
you.
than go to a movie theater. Oh, wait, did I cut out? Or
I guess it was me. I didn't hear you,
Oh,
Lindsay,
okay.
but it might have been a me thing.
quick detour because I want to shout out our chat because this is awesome. We currently have Troy and Kittens are debating which is the better movie, Rashomon or Seven Samurai. Our fans are awesome. Thank you guys. That's
Inspired
that's
so much,
cool.
though.
Does that
Could you
make them
choose between
awesome?
those?
Really?
It
We're talking
Makes
about
the base.
think so.
Moana,
Does.
and they've figured out a way to distract themselves talking about Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah, but okay. Could you choose one of those? Could you choose
Seven
the
Samurai.
child?
Seven Samurai.
Without
Rashomon, no.
hesitation.
Without Rashomon, we wouldn't have the Acolyte. Come on, Charles.
We wouldn't.
The gift that
Or-
keeps giving.
The Last Jedi.
And without Seven
Yeah,
Samurai, you don't have
true.
Star Wars
Star Wars.
proper.
True.
And
true.
without that footage of that guy riding a horse from like in 1875 or whatever, we never would have had movies.
Yes,
They
and
talked
without
about in
movies, we
Us.
wouldn't have large pretzels.
That is
I think
smart.
the large pretzel would have happened sooner or later with or without the.
That might be to scale.
You don't know. Those
You
aren't.
don't
Those are salt licks, Charles. So it really is huge.
So to news. Not,
News for you.
Yay.
not that I want to get into this, but I saw Marcy bring it up, and it is interesting. And
It better be.
I don't know. Melissa Barrera spoke up
I
about
love that
her
woman.
being fired from Scream 7,
Okay.
and
I need to look into that. Do you know what
I-
you said? Now that I cut you off?
I can give you something to use that sexy voice of yours, sir.
No.
No.
She
Sure,
voiced an
sure,
opinion, and the producers
Hey.
disagreed with it, and they let her go. And now everybody wants to boycott the movie, as opposed to having a movie recast somebody in a particular role.
Yeah,
Well, I think part of the issue with this is like there was the previous Scream movie that didn't have Nev Campbell in
Neve
it.
Campbell.
That rubbed some people the wrong way.
she wanted more money, though. That there's a slightly
Oh no.
a different. Okay.
Well, no, yeah, there's always more layers to it, but I'm just like, they get rid of Ned Campbell because they're like core four, we're doubling down on the core four, and then we get that core four movie, and like I don't know, I like Scream 7. It wasn't my favorite, but I had a
6.
lot of fun with it.
7
6, I
doesn't exist
apologize.
yet.
You don't exist yet. No, but
Fair.
you're right. I apologize. Scream 6, and I like Scream 6, but then Scream 6 is over and done with, and now they're like, no, sorry, no more core four, going back to Ned Campbell. It's just like, come on, man. Like, make up your mind. You got me invested in Melissa Barrera, and I loved watching, tall ass Melissa Barrera next to tiny ass Jenna Ortega. They're an incredible duo. I want more of them, and now you're just ditching it because of politics.
So, in case you're watching / listening and in the dark, Melissa Barrera spoke up about Palestine and was asked to no longer take part in Scream 7. And due to
asked
that,
or told?
I'm being as polite as possible. Due to that fallout, Jenna Ortega said deuces, and she left. And I think that hurt the production far more than, I think if it was just them getting rid of Melissa Barrera, you could have killed her off screen. I think as far as, because Jenna Ortega has quite a following, and if we're writing Melissa Barrera in films recently, she was in the vampire little girl, Abigail. That was a good movie.
She was so good in that movie too, man. Like, holy shit. Like, what's his name was incredible, but she was like double incredible. Dan Stevens.
Patrick.
Oh my god. He too. There's so many good people in Abigail. I love that movie. That whole cast is just fire, including the dude who died. Man, that made me so sad because he was so the guy who's like the kind of the stoner burnout of the spoilers for life. He sadly passed away.
Before the film was released. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's just a good
man.
movie.
That's messed up.
I don't think it was.
I don't know what Jenna Ortega is doing in that image right there, but I love that face. She's like trying to do it.
Well, just think of where Melissa Barrera's hand is.
I can't even notice that. But I just love this. I love the short queen and tall queen thing. They look so good together. Like, I'm sorry. Like, they're incredible.
You're a dork.
I am.
You are too white and too male to be talking about short queens.
Okay, sir, I am 6'3", so when Melissa Barrera looks like she's a giant next to Jenna Ortega, I'm just like, hello, mommy, okay? Anyway.
So I do happen to have the Deadline article up.
Thank you.
Should we do visuals with it, or is it okay to just talk about it?
Lindsay, do you
I could share it, I think. Let me attempt to share.
Here. I think I can do it. Hold on.
Yay. This is our first week.
Present.
Yay. I think I'm sharing. If you just put that on there, I think we can go from yay, Rosales. So this is an article with Deadline. Melissa Barrera on Scream 7 firing. It was the darkest and hardest year of my life. Understandably. In this Deadline article, Melissa Barrera recalls how she felt after being fired from Scream 7 over her comments on the Israel-Hamas conflict. In a new interview, the Your Monster star said she had a difficult time during that period and said big acting offers diminished due to the backlash. It was a quiet 10 months, Barrera told The Independent about her acting jobs. I was still getting offers from small things here and there. I'm not going to lie and say there was nothing, but the message was, she probably doesn't have work. She'll say yes to anything. That is kind of interesting. So I don't think we talked about Your Monster at all. Did anyone happen to see that one?
I did.
It's kind of cute. I thought it was kind of cute. I didn't hate it. It felt like it was kind of a fun take on familiar ground.
Yeah, but, very VOD, Beauty and the Beast with a bit of a tinge to it.
For sure.
It's fun. It's on VOD if you want to check it out. It's certainly not the worst thing you can watch.
No, and it has a lot of similar third act stuff that a lot of films have had this year in an interesting way. But Barrera was slashed from reprising her role of Sam Carpenter in the third film in a third film, excuse me, after she took to social media to call for a ceasefire. The production company behind the film, Spyglass Media Group, said in a statement that they had zero tolerance for anti-Semitism or the incitement of hate in any form and dropped her. Soon after, Jenna Ortega would also leave, citing scheduling conflicts with her Netflix series Wednesday. Scream 7 is now moving forward. OG star Neve Campbell is reprising her role of Sidney Prescott, and Kevin Williamson is directing the slasher. So he is the writer of the first
original,
couple,
right?
and then
Yeah.
the first version of Scream 3, which got shelved after real life incidents. But he's coming back as a director. I don't think he's writing.
He's not
but I
writing
think
it.
I was gonna say, I think he directed one of the last two as well, or at least he was around there.
I think he wrote
but not
5,
Mhm.
and his only
okay. Was that it?
his only directing experience is Teaching Mrs. Tingle, which he also wrote.
I mean, it's a classic. What other Mrs. Tingle movie do you remember?
Wait, did he also do I Know What You Did Last Summer, or he wrote those, or was that someone else?
I know he wrote it, but I don't think he
Right,
directed in that. But I think he had conflicts with I think that is one of the reasons why he left it, was to pursue that franchise.
Mhm. Interesting.
But yeah, and if you remember, they were really kind of giving Neve Campbell not the proper star treatment, basically saying like, we don't need her, we've got the new generation. It appears they have completely changed their tune on that, because they're going full forward with Sidney Prescott again, even though very diminished role in the last couple. But Barrera seems to go on. I think there have always been Scream factions, Barrera told publications, laughing. There are always going to be people that love you and people that hate you, and people that are open to the story continuing, and people that think that continuing it is ruining it. If they want to go watch the next one, cool. If they don't, also cool. Fair enough. I mean, I guess. She continued, you just got to act according to how you preach. And that depends on what you value, what your morals are, and whether you can separate that art or not, that from art or not, excuse me. There are people that can't listen to R. Kelly anymore, or Michael Jackson, or can't watch Woody Allen films anymore. And there are people who don't care. Wow. So I guess I don't remember her exact comment. In here, they're just calling for a ceasefire.
Yeah.
Would you say anything she has done is anywhere close to like R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, or Woody Allen?
No.
Level? Because that's weird to kind of compare yourself to them. And that's where her quote apparently ends.
Thank you, Gray.
Yeah. Wow. That is intense. Would you guys ever make that comparison to yourself? Isn't that just kind of asking for trouble, comparing yourself to Woody Allen or R. Kelly?
Every day, Gray. I mean, can you guys just leave me alone, please? Just let me live.
I mean, every day I wake up and the first thing I do is scream, "Why didn't I write Ignition?"
Marcy, 45 Danish Corner talk. Skydance are so deep. Their theme song is "Begging" by Frankie Valli. Begging for you. Put your lovin' out, baby.
Heck yeah.
All right.
Yes, but he meant Spyglass.
Yeah. He did. But I wonder if like she would go out of her way to compare them to the two, to kind of just show like how silly this whole situation is. Like she almost lost her career because she wanted a war to end. That's a little messed up, man.
A ceasefire. I don't know if that's
ceasefire. Yeah, it's not even a war ending. I apologize. Yeah, just a ceasefire. Yeah.
Is that exhibiting hatred or like?
Was it really close to like October 7th or whatever? Like, because I'm guessing if it's ceasefire right after that attack or something, maybe somebody could see it as that, but it would seem like it would have to go so much further than that to count it.
I assume there's more to it than that. There has to be more to it than that. If like, let's say somebody who's on the production team of the film or the studio, perhaps they lost a family member on October 7th, and they see things a little bit little bit differently. Maybe they do see it as a hostility. But again, I don't know. I do not know this.
But
I say this.
to use a comparison, if you said something like that after 9/11 and you said a ceasefire, even though it's kind of not the same, they kind of paused production due to the fact that Jenna Ortega left, and they went and got Sidney Prescott. They went and got Nev Campbell.
Well, they did get Sidney Prescott. You weren't incorrect.
You have the time to get your head about yourself and be like, all right, you know what? We overreacted. We understand. And then build the bridge back and work it out behind the scenes. But it seems like that's not something that was done.
We've seen that happen before. James Gunn got fired.
There was
hours
a
of
situation.
something getting. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm pretty sure that. Oh my goodness, I done lost her name. So the Star Wars chick who got removed. She said some things, and she would not recant or repeal what she said or what she posted, whatever it was, and so they let her go. There may have been a situation like that where it's like, look, don't step on anybody's toes. We don't want to get involved with this. And maybe you should recant what you say. And she refused to do that because she absolutely has a 100% right to say whatever she wants to say.
It definitely looks like she went beyond just saying ceasefire. I just kind of looked him up, and I don't know. I guess I'd feel somewhat uncomfortable saying everything that she said, but it starts with "I too come from a colonized country. Palestine will be free," and then it kind of goes from there. So it's not just a ceasefire thing. She also says videos are being suppressed on social media of certain things. So it looked like it was quite a bit stronger than just ceasefire. But I don't disagree with what they're saying. She practiced free speech, but I think the studio probably has the free speech to say we don't want to work with you if you have those beliefs.
Sure. And it seems like these problems are happening due to social media. To alleviate, because I know that actors like Anya Taylor-Joy, she'll get something in her contract. I think Sydney Sweeney would too, where they have some sort of at least 2 posts about this movie coming out. Maybe you put it in their contract that, for the next, until this film comes out, you cannot talk about anything on your social media. I mean, you're going to have to pay them more to keep their mouth shut, but it's essentially, I don't know, some sort of marketing NDA where it's like, listen, we're making this movie, we're getting this stuff done. You cannot cause waves because it's costing all of us money. I'm not saying one way or another it's right, but
I'm sure there's got to be clauses, right? That's why they usually give you media training to do the interviews, the giant junkets, the train of different barrage of the same question or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You're not incorrect, but I think there's an issue that arises because this October server that happened after things had already started rolling for Scream 7, and they hadn't started shooting or anything like that, but the ball, they were in pre-production and stuff like that, and then October 7th happened, so you couldn't have really gotten into her contract, hey, don't talk about this, because just that's just how time works. The contracts were signed long before October 7th happened. So what do you do in these types of scenarios?
Yeah, you're away from the microphone.
I apologize. So what do you do in those scenarios when something pops up and someone says something, but it's not really in breach of contract because it's something that happened after the contract was signed?
I mean, they can fire you for whatever, right? I mean, how much?
The United States is an at-will country to work at, except for
SAG?
One state.
What type of protection? Okay. I don't know what that means.
I mean, as long as they're willing to pay fines and deal with, maybe getting chewed out publicly and maybe getting labeled, don't work with them. But, no one's going to label Disney, don't work with Disney.
But I think there's a lot of morality clauses, or you're essentially kind of a mascot of whatever company during certain times. I think they'd have to work something like that into a contract, right?
And also,
especially since we've seen so many people
They do
flame
that in
out on
football
something
for
like
sure.
this.
Definitely, football players all sign morality clauses. At least the college footballs does, so that they have to carry themselves in a certain appearance, dress a certain way, and conduct themselves accordingly. At least at the college level. Now, I don't know about pro football because them folks get wild.
I would just assume, like if everybody's banking on you, like there has to be something like that in contracts where you'd be heavily penalized if you're the reason that like marketing tanks or something. But
Oh,
You know,
I think it would
I
have
was
to be
also gonna
something
say,
rather egregious.
and the production pays I was gonna say the production pays SAG those fines too when those things happen. It doesn't go to the
Not the
actor who
actor.
gets screwed
Right.
over. Yeah, so it's because so yay unions. Thank you for taking money from the company but not giving it to me. Thank you
Shots
so
fired.
much.
Keep
Thank you
paying
so
those
much
dues,
for having
Lindsay.
terrible contracts with online content when I got the biggest thing I ever did and I got paid pennies for it. Thanks for that, SAG. I got poked in the nipple by
Wow.
Rob Schneider and I was paid as an extra.
Did you have
I
a
have to, though. I'm just saying they're pretty based.
did you have a coordinator for damn it, what is it called? Damn it.
Intimacy coordinator.
Yes.
I mean, if you were
They-
that acquainted with his nipple, it seems like you'd need it.
Well, I think if it had been planned, but it was like a kind of a spur of the moment improv thing, and honestly, it was funny. But it was just like,
All right.
I don't think I can get that intimate with the director's star and still be an extra. Just saying.
So once and for all, it's Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to talk about shit that I guess. What did Rachel Ziegler say that has got a jalapeno
That
up
we need
everybody's
better
ass?
representation in Meanier.
That's it.
Like she was, I mean, she probably said it with an attitude, and she said it a lot. And saying it with an attitude and saying it with a lot is going to get people to upset you. And there's probably some incendiary thing that she said along with that we need better representation in media. But yeah, this is basically Brie Larson.
Oh, she said, I hope no Trump supporter knows peace.
Okay,
Well, that
Trump
does seem a little
supporters say way
incendiary.
worse about leftists all the time.
Okay. All right.
Joe Rogan. I'm just saying,
I
Joe
failed.
Rogan still has a career.
I failed.
Okay, that's all.
But she, if you hate Disney and you used her as the most convenient piñata to get views, that's enough. Because if a Trump supporter knows no peace, that means that they are being violated violently. If you are a right winger, crazy person who's putting crying figures in your thumbnails and whatnot, and just wanting something to rant about.
That doesn't
So
sound
yeah,
so
she was.
peaceful.
Yeah, I do
We all
think,
want peace here.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. I do think there in the age, especially the last 10 years or so, in the age of social media, there needs to be something done. Like, it seems like everything is done with some sort of capitalist intent behind it. Like, I just saw that they're trying to boycott Coke. Best of luck getting me to do that, by the way. So it always seems like it's show them with your dollar, and that's I guess the way to do something. But should freedom of speech be? I don't know. Like,
Based.
should it be based?
I think it should be. I think freedom of speech should be based. Just a thing.
I mean,
what can I say?
in
They
theory,
can't. They can't
it definitely
outlaw.
is.
They can't regulate something that is given to you according to the Constitution.
Yeah, but
At least
they
in
could
the United
fire you
States.
for it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
And the reason
you can also, laws are meant to not necessarily to enforce peace, but to adjudicate it after a crime has been committed. That's what a law is. Laws are written there for people who break laws. They're not meant for people who obey the laws and are peaceful. So when somebody decides they're just going to disobey the law, not that they have a right to do it, but they'll just do it. And so when somebody says whatever they're going to say, they can say it. And, the thing is that you have to expect that what you say has going to have some sort of ramification on everything else that's out there, because Nobody wants to hear what I have to say, and they get angry if I say it. So Rachel Zegler and this Becerra chick, they say things that they have a full right to say, but there will be not necessarily a consequence, but there will be something out there that is a derivative of their actions, if you will.
I mean, okay, but like, go ahead, Charles.
It seems like the way celebrities are acting now is kind of an inverse to what they were maybe 60, 70 years ago, where, I mean, I'm trying to think of gay actors that, kept quiet for a number of reasons. And some would say their bottom line would have been affected. No pun intended. That, Rock Hudson he went and got married so that the public image was that, he's this regular straight,
no longer a confirmed bachelor.
Right. Liberace. I mean, I don't know who the fuck believed any of that shit, but
Charles Nelson Riley. There's this great guy.
Right. So it seems like I don't know what I'm trying to put my finger on here. It just seems like they were more aware of the consequences then than now. It seems like it's easier to get your voice out there today. And
well, it's
when
the
they
whole
fuck
consequence
around,
of social media. Like 20, 30 years ago, you would never know how racist your uncle is. You would never know how into Marxism your great aunt is. These types of things were just, I mean, you would know, but you wouldn't know implicitly. Like you get little hints of it and little things of it here and there, but you wouldn't know the exact detail to which your uncle thinks that JFK was assassinated by aliens or whatever. But now that we have social media and everything is just a click away from
we'll find out soon enough.
Well, we will, but it's the nature of the times, and it's easy to hop on Rachel Zegler and say like, oh, she said Trump supporters should know peace and screw her for that. But like, I mean, is that really that? Look, it's not a great thing to say, especially if you want to exist within the public space. But people on the right. Just to be fair, I'm not trying to start a fight. I'm not even going to get specific here, and because I don't need to get specific because you can't say I'm wrong. Right-wing media things say worse than that on the daily. I'm not going to get specific, but I'm right about that. Like,
certain ones for sure, but I don't think that they label like everyone, like 50% of the country is.
But we all know that.
I think anytime you do that, it's going to be necessarily like very polarizing.
If you're listening to a guy that sounds like this, I'm crazy, and that everything I say is BS, and no one is going to question that. But when you have somebody representing a big mega corporation like Disney, then you can say that they're crazy, and people get offended by it. But I'm not offended by the fact that people think I'm crazy. Sorry, little Alex Jones rant.
But if you're Alex Jones, you're paid to do that. It's not like there's a slight difference, I would say, between something like Alex Jones and Rachel Zegler, Melissa Barrera.
I think there is a great big difference between the two, and to say that what she said is comparable to what Alex Jones says is different because nobody takes him seriously. And
I don't know if that's true.
Nobody should take her seriously.
Why would Trump go on InfoWars if nobody takes him seriously?
For the votes, because those crazies.
Yeah, because people take him seriously. Look, if Alex Jones isn't a good example. But if Alex Jones is a good example, how often does someone at the Daily Wire say all trans people should be stripped of all their rights? And in my opinion, that's
I have no idea. I didn't know they said that. Did they say that?
They do frequently.
No, and not they do, but which one? When?
Matt Walsh.
I'll call you up later.
Matt Walsh made an entire movie dedicated to it.
The one that's asked.
He made an entire movie dedicated to it.
Am I racist?
Before that, he made an entire movie about how trans people don't deserve rights.
What is a woman?
It's 2 hours long. It exists.
I didn't see it.
I'm not saying it's
So
not, but it exists.
Okay,
and I'm just
but
saying no one's
so,
calling for Matt Walsh to
Lindsay,
never have a career or to get
quick,
to have his
quick
movies
question.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead, though.
we're all
You know?
on show business, so we're all on the Willis Gredian network right now.
made.
If
We
Rosales
are.
or if I say something crazy, like I don't think you should be painted with the same brush. I have listened to quite a bit of Shapiro. I've never heard him say that. I've heard him say like everybody should have the same rights. So it does seem like he's not trying to take away anyone's rights, as far as I know. But I haven't heard them specifically say that like 50% of the country is like X or whatever. I haven't heard that bit of alienation. I think it's necessarily going to be polarizing to say like
50%
half of you are wrong.
It's not.
It's
51-49
when I looked last time. Like for
no, that's 51-49 of the voter base. That is not the entirety of the
True.
country. It's actually closer to a third of the country that actually does all the voting. So it's not half the country.
Perhaps.
So,
Just saying.
But
the loud generalizations is where all of this shit gets muddied up. I do think that a loud, annoying person, no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, certainly can feel like 50 people if they want to, if they put their heart to it. And I mean, for someone to quit social media for being in a movie, I don't know.
Does Ziegler quit social media? I mean, I know others.
No, I'm talking about Last Jedi, and that was just because the movie sucked.
Debate, but we don't need to get into that.
That we don't need the movie stuff. We don't need to get into. I see.
Well, we are getting distracted here with the Rachel Zegler stuff. Here, we are getting a little off topic. I apologize.
I guess what I'm trying to say. Thanks, Marcy. By the way, is
Marcy.
what Marcy knows I was kidding. How do you make this accessible for everyone? How do you make the studios happy and the actors happy? And I mean, it's not like it's surprising that you say something that your employer doesn't agree with, that you're going to lose your job. Like that to me doesn't feel that surprising. But why is this constantly a thing? Good talk.
I mean, she's definitely been in the center of quite a few controversies. Like, if you just did it like one or two times, like I would chalk it up to like, who doesn't put their foot in their mouth. If you shoved a microphone in front of me for like 8 hours, I'm pretty sure I'd say something I wish wasn't caught on there. But I don't know. I'd have to think at this point she's kind of looking for. So it just sounds necessarily kind of inflammatory to say essentially like half the country, or at least a voting slight majority of the country is all X. Like it sounds like you're necessarily going to say something polarizing. Like I think there's few people
Rachel Zegler is under 25, so her brain is not yet completely developed.
Also true.
However,
25 for
being
sure.
over 21, she is responsible for anything she says, whether it be libel or any kind of, anything like that. If she has said something that can be prosecuted. Yeah, that's the right word. Under the law, it'll probably happen. If she's just spouting nonsense, which is, an emotional tweet on the election day is definitely that. It's an emotional tweet and should be taken with a grain of salt. I don't think it's necessary for her to recant that, because she definitely channeled a lot of what her fan base was feeling at the time. So, but, as far as Becerra is concerned,
Barrera,
Becerra, it don't matter. She's replaceable. She apparently had no legal basis to contradict what they've done. She didn't come back and sue them because they did something well within the legal rights of her contract. So that's why I'm assuming she's still gone.
It's also worth saying, I can't prove this, but I'm pretty sure Disney wants people saying these types of things for the free marketing that they get out of it.
Sure.
We're talking about it. Like, would we be talking about Snow White or Ziegler if this hadn't have gotten in the news? Like, I could care less about this remake. Everything I've seen about it makes me want to see it even less. So I don't know, but we're talking about it now. And, we actually all had to weigh in, and it got a little bit heated for a second. So
it did. I apologize. And we're talking about things that we regret we said. I said some things I wish I hadn't said, Yeah. But
I regret nothing.
No regrets. Fair enough.
It's also. I love how we're talking about all this. Oh, sorry. We just have to talk about this because we're on the subject of Snow White. The whole dwarf thing is so weird in this movie. Charles, I love your pen. Have you guys been following that at all?
Yeah, there's so many different versions. I don't know what they're going to end up with in the end. So, but it's not making me want to watch this. But
yeah,
can I ask you guys? So, if you have Disney money or whatever, are you putting in your contract like, hey, stay off social media or don't start any controversies? Or are you telling them, hey, light the internet on fire, go?
So Patrick kind of bought, I think Patrick kind of skated on something that I would do if I were a studio, where it's like, all right, either shut the fuck up until the movie comes out and for 90 days after, or you tie your salary to whatever the fuck you say. So you can run your mouth, but if it costs us money, it's going to cost you twice as much. You'll see people.
I think that's what a lot of those kind of.
Yeah,
I think that's what a lot of those morality clauses are. Is they're kind of penalties based off of like actions or whatever. Like you get a reduced percentage.
All right, so I think that's where you keep people employed and ride the wave. I guess I don't know. It just seems like social media is cancer. That's the long and short of it, as far as I'm concerned.
Social media is cancer, and Marcy, we are here to make love. Okay, everyone, start making love right now.
Marcy from Denmark, mind you, the second happiest country in the world.
Yeah, no, but
yeah,
you know what I am looking forward to though.
Sorry,
what have you been looking forward to?
Well, I am really looking forward to Y2K, Rachel Zegler shenanigans aside. But I love the way that you approach contracts. So this, Charles, there's something about your logic of, look, if we pay you $50 million and this movie doesn't make $50 million opening weekend, you owe us money. I think that's genius. Like
maybe
Rock and Red One.
Maybe not owe us money, but like, oh, you think you're big time. Okay. Well, literally put your money where your mouth is. Maybe some sort of floor thing where it's like, if this thing tanks, you're making $5 million, but if it does well, you can make as much as
if she's that loud, I see that for her, but I can't see that for Anthony Mackie and the winged Captain America movie that's coming out. It's going to lose a bunch of money, and I wouldn't blame him for any of that happening because Marvel didn't make him the star.
Wait, what did
Captain America?
Yeah,
he said absolutely nothing. He said nothing. He has said nothing, which is why I wouldn't blame him for it falling down. It's going to lose money. There's rumors about more reshoots happening.
So
the rumors are that I think there's like a presidential assassination in the movie.
Yeah,
so that's why they keep having to reshoot it because a recent presidential candidate had 2 assassination attempts on him.
Hey,
so I think that's the reason why it's going to lose money because. Oh, that's true.
I'm just saying.
But the boys ain't the boys ain't owned by Disney. The boys ain't owned by Disney. Can you imagine?
I think so. There's a lot here. To assume that Rachel Zegler is the exclusive reason that the image below my head would fail is, I think that's being extremely hard on something.
But, for sure. The aforementioned dwarf issue, and I think Marcy brought it up as well. Like the first controversy with this was kind of the Dinklage one. For some reason, he was saying like they are not by hiring dwarf actors or little people actors, they are somehow making it worse for them.
The full thing of it is Peter Dinklage is
offensive.
Before we get into that, Jacob Benson, executive producer, literally keeping the lights on around here, sir. We continue to love you so much, man.
Thank you, Jacob.
You're just the best.
Through all that slop,
I'm not even going to acknowledge my brother. We have to acknowledge you right now. Oh, go ahead.
Through all that slop, Jacob still makes it rain on the chat. Thank you, Jacob.
Hell yeah, he does. That's right, Jacob. we just went on the longest political diatribe in the history of this channel, and you still support us. Thank you, sir.
It's my fault. I sorry.
No, you're good. We're all guilty. What were we talking about right before that though? My brain.
Don't deport me.
What?
Anthony Mackie not being responsible. I without knowing their salaries, I don't know if Rachel Ziegler is someone that you could like. What is her? Is she making 50 million like The Rock is? Is Anthony Mackie?
I'm assuming she got scale. She got scale because when they were doing their what do they call that thing? It's a strike. That's what it's called. She was striking because, and she mentioned it, that for all the time she spent in that dress, she should be paid more than scale. That's what she was saying.
Yeah, that's just talking shit. Like that's one thing. Like
there's no way she got scale if she's the lead of a Disney movie, unless she has literally the worst agent in Hollywood.
Have you seen the? Did you see Inside Out 2? That some of the more famous names left due to the offers.
Bill Hader left.
But you didn't need them for that much. And Mindy Kaling,
Sure.
the amazing Mindy Kaling, did not reprise her role. But
right. So
there's using different emotions that are almost the exact same ones. So it's like, we only need you for 2 lines. Do you come back for less than scale for like 2 lines? Like, it seems like they intentionally gave them an offensive offer.
Right.
That happens a lot. Sadly, that happened with Futurama, the reboot. They did that to all the voice actors. Go ahead, Charles.
I think there's some precedent that Disney tends to cut corners if they can. So I wouldn't be that shocked if I'll be honest, I didn't know who Rachel Ziegler was until all of this. So like
she was the chosen one. She was handpicked to be the next big star, and yet this star fell as quickly as it was launched.
Well, we'll see with Y2K. That comes out Friday. Also, Rachel Ziegler in it.
I'm fascinated to see how that does.
I mean, Daisy Ridley. What the fuck has she done since Star Wars that is worth
She was
anything?
the chosen one. She was the one handpicked to become the star.
Who?
Daisy Ridley.
By the way, that's what I was going to talk about. Before we got distracted, not distracted, before Jacob Benson was incredible as he always is. Peter Dinklage was calling out that it's weird that Disney is being progressive by casting a Latino actress to play Snow White, but still going with what he considered to be super stereotypical, cliche dwarven type characters. And so he was just saying, it's like, look, if you're going to be progressive in one area, why not be progressive in another area? And it felt weird and off to him, the fact that they did that, and then that's when they launched. Go ahead.
Felt like maybe a tiny ladder was being like pulled up or something. Was what I kept hearing from that.
No, because then there was a backlash.
Wants to be the only dwarf hired in Hollywood.
That was the backlash that he got. A lot of dwarf or actors of smaller stature came out and said, like, yo, you don't speak for us. A lot of we may not get work now because of you. And that's when Disney then announced that they're going to call the dwarves magical creatures instead of dwarves in this version.
And they went with hippies.
Because that's so much less offensive.
So much less offensive. And I was actually curious when I was watching Wicked, but it seemed like there was a lot of kid actors in that, or for the Munchkins. I don't know. It seems like the only movie that's worried about that is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's very funny to me. Not that I'm saying it's not something
there's so many
worried about, but
no, and there's so many characters in Wicked that like you don't necessarily need to focus on them. But I think that's also what Broadway ended up doing, was instead of Munchkins, they kind of had kids play those types of roles. But
that's what the original was, dude. I mean, there were actual like dwarves in it too, but there was a lot of kids playing the Munchkins. Oh, what movie is that? What are we?
That was one of the iterations. So that's
one
of the iterations of
the magical creatures that they were doing for Snow White. They had one dwarf, and the rest were hippies. And they all have
a movie. They're now CGI now.
Yes, they went from this to this.
So it's interesting, but
okay.
When it comes to live action,
me want to see this. No. Yeah, it's like
live action Disney's been atrocious.
They could have kept one guy.
Yeah.
They could have kept
I
the one
haven't
little
liked a
guy.
single live action Disney remake since I think Cinderella. And the only reason I liked that one was because they did something kind of interesting with the evil stepmother. And the direction was really good on that one, the whole production design. But I haven't liked any of them. What the Beauty and the Beast one? No, not the Beauty and the Beast. Oh, the Beauty and the Beast was terrible too. Maleficent,
I did not
that's what
like
it's called.
that
That
one.
sucked. Lion King, Dumbo, I just turned off halfway through because I
didn't hate
bored.
Aladdin. I didn't.
I was going to say
one.
Aladdin was a little bit different to me. It's a Guy Ritchie one. Like at times you get like so Guy Ritchie in there. It's weird. But
that one was so one of my weirdest moments I've ever had watching a movie was future Smile 2 star. I'm blanking on her name right now, who played Jasmine. She has her song that they invent for the live action Aladdin movie is "I Will Not Be Silenced," and she's just singing "I will not be silenced" over and over and over again. And then her song ends, and the bad guy's like, "Shut up, woman," and arrests her. What was the point of that song if she's just going to immediately timing. Be silent? It was funny. It was very funny.
You know her state of mind. It's just not reality. It's great.
I would have liked it more if I'd known about the arrest. I would have went to see it.
Naomi Scott.
That's a good question.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, you're totally right. She's in some great musicals. What can I say?
Wait, so is she still in the second best musical of the year, Gray? Or is that...
For me, it is still the second best. Smile 2 is still the second best musical of the year for me. But what can I say?
Hell yeah. I mean, I'm putting that New Brain song in way too many short videos. I can't argue with that. So.
I think part of the problem with Disney is they're trying to make everyone happy, or they're trying to make a certain perspective happy, and they're like ignoring so many other things where it's just make your movie, because you're going to piss people off. Either do it genuinely, because if you have to be reminded what to do, you're not thinking about it to begin with. People are going to vote with their dollars anyway. It just seems like you're not going to make everyone happy. So, be aware of what you're doing, and tell
your story and stick to it.
Yeah, I mean, this whole feeling things out is it's not the way to do business. Like, you make your product. If people don't like it, they don't pay for it, and you learn that way. Trying to be like, how do you feel about this image? And then people complain, and then you twerk it, and then this person's upset about this new update, and just make your movies.
Wait, Patrick, which one over her shoulder?
One?
the dopey one or the one with the big nose?
The one with the big nose is me, I think.
Maybe.
Is it the one with the green shirt?
That's something. Is that
one
dopey
with
or happy? What?
The red beard, I think, is the one.
Oh, that could be it. Yeah. Okay. Is the red showing through? Because when I would literally really let it grow out, it actually does get weirdly red, but I don't think it's long enough for that. So.
Let's see if I can make this any bigger.
The one with the blue hat.
The one with the blue. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Dopey. Okay. Cool. I'm assuming that's Dopey to the left.
Yeah, that one. I would agree with that.
I can see that.
That one has my ears, though, so that's like the show business.
So it's our love child.
So enough of that.
But yeah, I don't know if this trying to appease some sort of insincere brownie point thing, like it just make your movie, and if people support it, they support it. If they have a problem with it, they won't. And then you'll learn real quick, because they just chase money. If any of you believe that these studios, these companies really give a shit about anything as far as social, progressive, any of that shit, I got a bridge to sell you, because what makes money is what they're most interested in. And this is why I feel like there should be some sort of competition for big studios and not Daily Wire, because I don't think the answer to messaging is polar opposite messaging. Just make
No.
good art. Just make good art, and you'll be
Just
surprised at
make
how
Gart.
And this is
I mean,
not
they do
good
have one
art.
of the biggest comedies of the year, though.
Who?
Daily Wire. It is one of the biggest.
Oh.
The comedy was in the top 10 this year, thanks to them.
Well,
It is
how
one
many
of the
comedies are there this year?
Look,
That's why I'm
okay, this
excited
is the
for
Polar
Y2K,
Express.
actually.
This is the Polar Express, which was done, what, a couple of decades ago, maybe? With the Tom
2004.
Hanks in them.
25 years ago, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is now.
That's a rather pixelated image, first of all.
Yeah.
This is then. This is now.
What is the quality of that image you're showing on Snow White?
The quality
Yeah,
that's
it's-
available right now. But
I mean, Rachel Ziegler's got checker boxes all over her, and she's a human. So I think the quality of the image plays into that.
I don't think so,
Is she
because the
human?
trailer
Is she?
has been released a little bit. You guys, did you guys see the trailer at the Moana? Did they show the trailer at Moana?
They did, but I walked in kind of as it was. The trailer had already started, so by the time I got settled and kind of sat down, I missed like 90% of the trailer.
Yeah, but you got to see these faces in action.
Yeah, no, yeah, but yeah, and they don't look great. They do not look great. They look very bad. But production stills, like even the Polar Express, if you were to go to hit play on Polar Express and put it next to this image, it would still look better, because things look better in motion when they're meant to move and not be still images. But they do not look good. They just don't. They're smack right in that the uncanny valley of, like, they're fake as hell, but they're trying to be real, and they're just unsettling to look at. And part of me wonders, like, is that because they had to, like, change their design post Peter Dinklage drama? Were they always meant to look like this? Did they want them to be real people at some point? They look terrible, but they'll look better than this when the movie's going. Like the same way that Jared Leto's Joker looked better in motion than he did in that one freeze frame. I mean, he didn't look incredible in motion, but he looked better than that one production image that they released.
Do either of you know if those are CGI people painted over the original actors?
Oh, that I do not know.
The sketch.
They're
so, like, there's a
entire-
couple
go ahead.
of reasons why that could be less than pristine. This one looked like George R.R. Martin.
Oh, my brother is the funniest person on the planet. That's incredible. That's why he can't finish the books. He's too busy starring in Snow White. I'm sorry. Okay. But I do not know. That is a very good question, Charles. Because would they go back and reshoot all of Zegler's parts just to get the dwarves in there, or would they paint over them? I do not know. Go ahead, Greg.
I believe it was those actors that we saw in that previous one that have been replaced, because they were announced before they showed this artwork. So this is the replace. So I do believe this is what they decided to composite on those actors.
That's awful.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad. That's really bad, actually. Oh my god! Like, this whole thing is so bad and stupid and like an unforced error, and that makes it worse.
And that's why, like, this is where, while some people have reason to blame Rachel Ziegler for everything, I don't think it. Like, I think Disney's just like, here, put as many mistakes in this as possible. Just blame her. Like, I don't think it's her fault that those things look. I don't know. I don't know. There's too much, but knowing Disney, they'll have a $500 million weekend, and we'll look stupid.
Will it? Oh my god! What if this movie fails? Like, I want it to not fail just to anger some people, but I also want it to fail so we never get any more of these live action remakes ever again. Because, like, so in 15 years, when this technology that we have is even better than it is now, do they remake them again? Like, where does the remake stop? I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Have
so
you
much.
seen the Lilo and Stitch? The blue furry Stitch thing?
Yeah.
It looks kind of cartoony. It looks fun. I just
fine, but
I think Disney's lost the plot a bit. The giant eyes, the super friendly like if you look at Lion King, the I don't know what the hell you call it, the not cartoon Lion King. It just
It's live action.
it's planet Earth, but not. It's really, I don't know, unappealing.
Well,
True.
this one really upsets me too. Like, I'm not a huge Lilo and Stitch fan because I just didn't like it as a kid. It's maybe if I watched it now, I'd like it. But one thing I always did like about it is if you watch really closely in the backgrounds of Lilo and Stitch, there's very little motion, but there's lots and lots and lots of implied motion because they had a shoestring budget for a shoestring budget. They had to completely redo the third act because it was supposed to involve like a plane almost crashing into New York City. So they had to like completely change it so it was then like a spaceship instead of a plane. Like Lilo and Stitch is a labor of love that it turned out to be as good as it is kind of a miracle. And so taking that movie that only works off the blood, sweat, and tears of the animators working extreme overtime and then making it live action is like, to quote one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, like, man, that's just an insult to life. Like it's greedy, it's pointless, it's capitalistic in all just the worst ways, and it's soulless,
Hollywood?
and it keeps making money, and I hate it. Yes, Hollywood, Charles. Meh.
Yeah.
Meh,
Best of luck. All right, so Rosales has a screen grab. Yeah, not
okay. I like Grumpy. I like Grumpy's design. I don't like any of the other ones, but I like Grumpy.
Fair enough.
Try to avoid playing it.
I was just trying to show them in motion.
Yeah.
What about that certain type of crowd who will not go to an older movie? Like, all of these. What year was the original Snow White in? Like, I know people who won't watch anything. So I know people that won't watch anything prior to the year 2000. Like anything in the 1900s is just old timey for them. So I don't know, man. Maybe this will actually get somebody like that to take a second look at something like this.
That's fair.
In that case, okay, it's a pale comparison, but for that fan group, maybe this is the closest they'll get to some of those stories. Maybe even The Lion King is too old, Little Mermaid or whatever. I disagree with them. It feels like they're timeless movies to me, but man, I know I used to do a podcast with a guy who would not watch anything prior to 2000. So I don't know. There is something to that.
It's okay to be wrong too. It's
yes.
Excuse me, sir. In the age of the internet, being wrong is just terrible. But you have to remember, like, everything is always super compressed on YouTube, and now you're broadcasting it in addition to that, so it's getting compressed even more. So, this is not what the movie's going to look like on up on the big screen or on your TV screen. It's going to look a little bit better than this. It's still not going to look good. I'm not defending the movie. I'm trying to criticize it for the right things.
That's a good shot. I mean, you don't. It's just shadows. I don't see faces here, so that's kind of
no. Plus. But it looks like an Unity video game or an Unreal Engine video game. So it's like something you would see on an Xbox 5 or Xbox 5. Listen to me.
You mean PlayStation 5?
Yeah, I'm an old man. This is like an Atari video game. Is this the console wars? So it's not the best. It's not the best quality. And
he looks like a square with legs. Sorry, Greg, go ahead. But just
that's right.
That's
does it also keep the license with them or the IP with them or whatever? Wouldn't it renew that whole clock of like how long you have copyright on trademark or whatever?
Only for this particular version of the film.
Right.
Which would be the Disney version, right? So wouldn't it still include like the yellow dress, the blue like essentially you wouldn't be able to have a Snow White that looks similar to that.
Yes.
More or less. Also, I think over the next 15 years, we're going to see a complete revisiting of all copyright laws because I think it's within the next 15 years, Batman, Superman, and another major juggernaut of copyright is going to enter into the public domain. And Sugar Glider.
Yes.
And there's no way that's going to get allowed to enter into the public domain. But also Sugar Glider.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to see a lot of congressmen buy mansions. A lot of congressmen are going to be able to afford their mansions and stuff. And and get on the board of directors of some entertainment company somewhere after they pass this forever copyrights for
Mhm.
3 major companies out there to take
Oh,
full advantage
and
of
actually,
it.
on the subject of copyright, something interesting I learned this week: the ruby slippers in the Wizard of Oz are a creation of the movie. It was actually silver slippers in the original book, and so the
Yes.
silver
Yeah.
fancy shoes that were in Wicked that I assumed were silver and were going to get horribly stained by blood in part 2, I guess they're just not going to get horribly stained by blood. Cool, those pretty shoes are going to stay pretty. Yay! Slight,
Yeah,
slight,
it
slight,
just,
slight
Ruby
tangent.
reads better on the screen.
It
You
does.
can really tell the
Yeah.
difference where
Also,
silver,
Elphaba
you know.
isn't green in the book either. So there's that.
I did know that. Also, oh my god, do you guys know how they did the transition from sepia tone to color in the original Wizard of Oz? I learned that this week.
Yes, they filmed it in color.
Well, okay. No, so they did, but they spray painted the entire inside of the house, including Judy Garland, that sepia color, and then
Well,
had
it wasn't Judy
so
Garland. There was a stand-in who was in the sepia tones who backed out of the frame, and then Judy Garland stepped through once you could
oh,
see
that's what it
everything
was.
in color. So
Base.
it
That
was
is
a
awesome.
stand-in and sepia tone inside the cabin area that she left out of. So there were two Dorothys essentially. A
How did we go
stand-in.
from cartoon dwarves to what
We
Wizard
started
of
talking
Oz?
about Wicked, and then we started
You know,
talking about the
This is
ruby
the sort of
slippers
thing
and
that
actually being
happens
the
when you go take
colors.
a piss.
Then we made it to the sepia tone, and I was just about to bring up "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" and their use of the sepia tones. But hey, welcome back, Charles.
Dude, can we spend an hour talking about "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" just to annoy Charles, guys? Like,
I haven't seen it yet, so that's
We're in a tight
you
spot.
haven't seen
Oh,
"Oh
do
Brother,
yourself
Where
a
Art
favor.
Thou"?
No, we're in a tight spot.
Well, sir, "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" has one of the greatest someone lip syncing to a song you will ever see in your entire life. Like, it's incredible. It looks terrible, but it's amazing. Also, it's just a really good movie.
I've heard.
True.
I've heard. Oh, I forgot.
If it
Did you
helps
know it's a
you,
modern retelling of the
Walty hated it. 9.7.
Yeah, we have a acquaintance that uses bizarro math, and 7 is average. So go ahead and wrap your head around
Wait,
that.
You're telling me someone uses bizarre math? Do you remember what my original grading system on my channel was when I first started? Like, I give like Hunger Games Part 5, like 12 battle royales out of 20, just to be obtuse and confusing for no reason.
You're being funny.
Yeah.
His grading system is.
Well, the more I like a movie, the more I will rate from 1 to 5. The more I dislike a movie, it'll go to 10 or 100, so that my 0 or 1 will be a lot less than 1, because I don't understand how math works. I don't see how. I think I'm realizing now that 1 can't be less than 1, even if it's from 1 to 100.
Yeah,
or
it
1 to
just
5.
gets
You'd be amazed.
diluted. Manny asks, as someone who hasn't seen a single live action remake, are any of them worth checking out? I would
No.
say Aladdin is.
I kind of liked Aladdin. If you dig some weird camera work, there's some really fun like ramping and slowing down of frame rates to match the song. It's really kind of fun the way that he visually does that. It reminds me a lot of his old music videos. If you like Guy Ritchie's film work, check it out.
The
If not,
1974 King
no.
Kong was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
For remakes.
It was pretty good.
For remakes.
I am definitely the new pro Jared Adam. I would say Cinderella, but like, I don't know.
Which
Like, even
one?
that's like not in the live action remake with what's her name
Which
that would
one?
go on to be in Baby Driver. The most recent one, directed by the guy that directed Thor.
Which
The
one?
2012, the 2013 one. I don't. It doesn't matter. that one, because Cinderella is one of those movies that really never really had anything to it. It's just a very base story, and so I feel like that one actually kind of did add some stuff to it without getting weirdly preachy. And I don't know, so that's the one I would recommend. Stay the frick, Kenneth Branagh. Thank you, Marcy. Kenneth Branagh directed that one. Stay as far away from it as you can from both Maleficent and Maleficent 2, though. Those are embarrassings.
What's funny
And
is
Dumbo.
somebody brought up Jungle Book, and I remember enjoying that, but I have no interest in ever seeing that again.
Which one?
Look for the
Jungle Book.
bare necessity.
Oh, Jungle Book.
Well,
Yeah.
do you think
actually,
you'd
that's true.
ever? Oh, the Jungle Book. Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about some
Emphasis
other
on one
Jungle Book.
syllable. The Jungle Book.
Okay, but would you ever watch the cartoon Jungle Book again? Do you think you're ever gonna catch
Fair.
up with Mowgli?
Fair.
That is
Not
amazing
till it ends.
animation.
I'm just saying. I thought Tailspin went for more than one season. That's a shame. It deserved more.
Oh,
But
dude,
that's
Tailspin,
another topic.
shit. Tailspin had one of the greatest intro songs ever. A Jungle Book remake was very good though, mostly because of that cast. You got Bill Murray, you got freaking Christopher Walken. Like that cast was insane.
What
And Scarlett Johansson was the snake.
what was the Emma Stone 101 Dalmatians? Was it titled?
Oh, Cruella.
It
I
was
think.
titled Cruella, wasn't it? It had
Yeah.
moments. And
Fair
It's
enough.
okay.
I said
I mean-
moments. I just there's things there where there was I don't know.
Her performance is something else. I don't know what the freaking hell she's doing, but I'm down for it. Like I think I've watched Cruella twice, and both times it was just for her.
The shoehorning the Dalmatians aspect in it, that's where it's just like,
But
why?
you don't understand. The coat
Yeah.
was revenge.
Why?
Vengeance. She's like John.
Well, that's like the
Wick,
problem with
sort of.
prequels, like in general. Like a prequel can be good. There's a few of them out there now, but in general, prequels don't work because they're too busy being a prequel and they don't have time to be a movie. Like, look at Rogue One.
And that's where
Look at-
Mufasa is changing it up. It's a prequel and a forward quill and a now quill.
What are you
awesome.
going to say about Rogue One, you blasphemous shit?
I was
How
actually
are you
about to
saying
say.
it doesn't
I meant
work?
to say. I meant to say Solo. I not Rogue
All right.
One. I do have a lot
Continue.
of I do have a lot of unkind things I could say about Rogue One, but it's not a prequel. It's a
What?
in between quill.
It's a
no, but
3.5.
it's 3.5. There you go.
3.5 in between 3 and 4.
Exactly. But there are good prequels too. I feel like I just saw one recent. Apartment 7A. I really liked that. That just came out recently.
And
Come
you
on,
watched
that movie's
first.
good.
You watched that first, right?
I did. Yeah, our
that's
little
what that is.
experiment.
That's a prequel? That's a prequel?
Yeah, to
To
Rosemary.
Apartment
Yeah.
It's like
7B?
Yeah.
Woof. The Thing, 2011.
It's a great movie.
It doesn't look, they could have used practical effects, but it's not bad.
Man,
Not
you
bad,
know
but it's
that
not
that
the
originally was
same.
all practicals and then they CGI'd everything. I want to know what that
Yeah.
original movie looked like so badly. Because there's a lot of good.
Prometheus.
You're right.
Alien
Yeah,
Romulus.
Prometheus. Yes, very good prequels. Metal Gear Solid 3, the best part of that entire franchise. That's not true. There's a lot of really
What
good parts of that
studio
franchise.
released
But Kojima Industries. I don't know. It's a video game. Shut up.
Is that
the
one of those
third
video games that
Insidious.
pretends to be a movie?
Kind of. It's
Actually,
cinematic in
well,
nature. The cutscenes are
there's-
quite beautiful.
and very long. Insidious 3. That was a prequel, and I really like Insidious 3. I think that's my favorite of that franchise, actually.
Yeah, so
That's another good.
there are good
I mean, okay,
prequels.
yeah. Wicked. Wicked's a good prequel.
Fair enough. It's a 1.5 quill. I don't know.
So
It should be
okay,
Wicked
fine.
Part 2.
1.5 cool. Wait, what? I just did a thing about. I made a list of this recently. What are good prequels? Good prequels.
We just
I
listed
feel
like
there's one I'm
15.
forgetting. Yeah, but there's a big one that I'm forgetting that it's going to
do you
annoy me.
get, buddy?
Oh, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is a prequel.
The
It
Force
takes place
Awakens?
before. The other one. Oh, and X-Men First Class.
Mm.
Pearl. Pearl's a good one. Furiosa. I don't care if anyone saw it. That's a good one. All right, okay, that's enough. Oh, Kong Skull. Oh no, Kong Skull Island. Shut up, Lindsay.
Are you satisfied? Have you
Yes.
matured on the topic?
You're mature.
I disagree. I saw that. It's time, everyone.
Oh, yeah?
Okay.
Oh, nope. I'm removing
We
this.
went
Lindsay.
silently.
I'm removing this because that's
Okay.
fooling me.
Over or under? Over or under?
I did. Did Rosales? What did you have for
He went under last time.
went under.
He was not,
me and
though.
him, we were pessimists last time.
Yeah. So last week we discussed 140 million, not realizing it was the 5-day. On Twitter, I amended that. It was 80 million for the 3-day, which was Friday through Sunday, which it obviously did do over 80 million. It did 135 for Friday through Sunday. 77.8% out of 27 votes said over for 80 million on the 3-day. Where'd you go? Gray said under on 140. I said over. Linzo said over, and Rosales said under. So that was last week. I have a bit of a twist on this week's over under. We have 3 new releases. 2 of them are wide, and 1 of them is limited. This week, pick them, and any one of these 3 will any of them be in the top 3. So over would be yes, 3rd or higher, and under would be 4th or lower. And that is between Werewolf, starring Frank Grillo, Rachel Ziegler, the aforementioned in Y2K, and Amy Adams in the limited release of Night Bitch. And she looks a lot like Kate Austin in that picture. I'm sorry.
She
can't help
does. That did not look like Amy Adams to me until you said that. It's like, oh, yeah, that is who that is.
It looks like a promo shot from
funny.
Lost. I cannot help but see Kate Austin from Lost. I got to stop talking about Lost. So any of
Getting
these,
lost in the lost sauce.
I have to go back. So the over under this week is any of these 3, over, 4th, or under.
I can't see it. I guess I'll jump in as a jerk and go first. I can't see it. I think Werewolves has the closest, but I don't think it has that much of a draw factor. I mean, it's Frank Grillo, right? Like, I mean, who doesn't like seeing him? But are you racing out to go see every one of his flicks?
You're expecting Gladiator to do like 18 million if you cut it in half and then some. And I don't know if any of these movies are $20 million films.
I've heard Werewolves is awesome. It is action packed. It's kind of like a zombie flick with werewolves, like just, like mow them down type fun gore action. I want to see it, but I can't see it taking 3.
Mm-hmm.
And like you mentioned with the Amy Adams one, it is super limited release. There's also a couple that didn't make it, but Standing on the Shoulders of Kitties, Bubbles from Trailer Park Boys. He gets his first starring feature. Again, I think that's kind of a limited release. I don't see that coming anywhere near it. I think these are going to be the solid 3 for a couple weeks now. Maybe I'm wrong. Lindsay, what about you?
By these, you mean Moana, Wicked?
Moana, Wicked, and Gladiator.
Right.
Perhaps Wicked will overtake Moana next time. We'll see. I see those 3 being solid for a while.
Yeah, next weekend is definitely going to be Gladiator 1, Moana 3, Wicked 2. But what's going to come in 4th place? 6th place is going to be Night Bitch, I think. I'm excited for it because I love Amy Adams, but I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't seen any trailers. I don't think anyone knows this movie's out or even exists. And you said it's in limited release. And so the question then becomes, what's more of a draw? People's hatred for Rachel Ziegler or Frank Grillo? it's probably going to be werewolves, but because I think everyone else is going to say werewolves, I'm going to try to be the rebel and say Y2K. Partially because there's a lot of people out there that live through Y2K. People want comedies. I think I think Y2K is going to be in fourth place.
Fourth.
Oh, okay, I was
You're
going to ask you if
taking-
you thought it was third or fourth. Okay.
You're taking
Oh,
the
yeah.
under. Is someone say-
yeah. Like, I guess I'm taking it then, yeah.
I'm about to be. I'm sorry.
Okay. So you're taking under. None of
yes.
these will be in the
Yeah.
top three.
So far we're
No.
under, but I think werewolves is 4. He's thinking Y2K is 4. We're going for a side bet on this one.
Well,
You know,
put that image
Gonzalez?
back up again, Charles, one more time. How can Y2K not win the over-under when the over-under thing is with the Y2K poster? Like, I'm just saying. I mean, I think that means it's destined to win.
I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Red One maintains fourth. That's my
Yeah.
That
high.
would be.
I
Wait,
don't
what
Yeah.
did Redwood do? 18 this weekend?
Mm-hmm. That's also the
Yeah.
5 day though.
I don't see any of these breaking the top 3. I don't see any of them breaking the top
Based.
3. I don't stay off of that. I don't see any of them. Cats
Stay
and
off the top
Christmas
three.
trees, they don't go together. Rachel Zegler is the only wild card I see here that may break fourth or stay at fifth, but there is just a ton of limited releases going out that's going to scatter everybody in every single direction. You know, you've got Getaway, you've got Year 10, you've got The Order, you've got Unstoppable, you've got The
There's
End.
also O Canada.
And
There's a couple of them that are opening this weekend that we haven't even talked about as
The
well.
Nick Frost movie, I'm kind of interested
yeah.
in because he wrote
I
it.
kind of want to see Get
Man.
Away. I just did a Nick Frost double feature from this year a couple weekends ago.
so
This one looks better than those other two.
there's got to be people or films pulling in all kinds of directions from those 3 specific ones and reducing their numbers. Now, keep in mind, I have been wrong 4 weeks in a row. Okay. The past performance is not indicative of future events. So take everything with a grain of salt. And I could be right on this one.
Speaking
know?
of grains of salt, though, Charles, what do you think? Over, under? Are you
Oh,
taking any of these
it-
3?
I'm taking Whoopi Goldberg for the block. It's 4 unders.
Nice.
It's 4 unders. Like I said,
I was like, what does that mean? No, okay. No.
So none
Whoopi
of us
Goldberg-
think that these can break the top 3.
that is a
Well,
Hollywood
do you wanna-
Squares joke, you young
Yeah.
bitch.
No, it took me a
Do you
second,
wanna-
but I'm with you. I'm with
I
you.
believe it's a night, bitch.
But I would, for extra credit, I would think that none of them finish in fourth. I think fifth is the highest that they're going.
Okay, which one
That's
gets
very
to
possible.
5th? You think it's werewolves?
I think it might be white.
Y2K 5.
It might be Y2K.
It had
Y2K
buzz
single.
earlier this year. I know it was the talk of a couple of festivals, but I don't know, man. I've been hearing buzz for werewolves, that it's really fun action flick that
I think
shoot
the
'em up
fact
werewolf
that-
style.
The fact that SNL writers and stars are part of Y2K gives it a little bit of baked in marketing for that too.
I would think
Although-
so too, but just to argue against myself, SNL earlier this year did not do very well. Saturday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's
a weird
an interesting
movie.
one though. Yeah.
Oh, I'm devil's advocating against myself right now. I'm not trying to make a point. I just wanted to put that on the record. That's all.
It's
So what are you
already
taking
hard.
for 4 then? Do you think it's still going to be Red One or
Oh yeah,
Charles?
I think the top 4 will be the top 4. Whether or not something switches, that it'd be interesting to see if Wicked and Moana swap. That would be quite a feat. But I think the top 4 right now will be the top 4 next week as well.
What if crazy? The best Christmas pageant ever switches places with Red One.
Again,
That'd be fun. No, yeah, exactly. It goes from
'Cause it
6th
was
to
in-
5th to 4th.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I thought I saw that it was ahead. Before earlier in the day, I thought best Christmas pageant was at number 4 earlier today. I could be wrong. I often
I
am.
think it was. I think they swapped a little bit.
What?
Or
From
wait, no,
18
sorry.
to
I think it
5?
was 5 and 6 switched
Yeah.
or whatever.
Christmas pageant swapped
was
with
about to
the
say.
Lonehofer or whatever the hell it's called. The
Bone,
the Angel Studios
Bonhoeffer.
film. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so it's competing
the-
for 5th and 6th place. That's amazing
Cool.
for them.
For somebody.
Who's them? Them who?
The Bonhoeffer
Angel Studios
and,
did both of them.
yeah.
It's got both of those movies out, so they're really being ambitious.
Yeah, 9 million total on the year on 2 weeks. Yeah. What else do we got here? Should we talk about Israel just to get the episode?
Yeah, just nothing weird or anything.
I don't recommend holidays there anytime soon.
I guess I can continue my non-segment where I mentioned the streaming series From on Prime. The season 3 has ended, and I think it was a very weak ending, on par with Lost season 3, which I consider to be the worst season of Lost.
Oh, the writer strike season.
Exactly. Yeah. The spiritual successor to Lost season 3 is on par with the writer strike season of Lost.
I just want
I
to
forgot about
accidentally
that.
see something.
Well, somebody bought 4
Sometimes you
tickets.
show up to the place. Yeah.
Actually, what movie was that where I bought the ticket, I went into the theater, but I was like the ticket times on Fandango were different than the actual posted thing, so it was a completely different movie. I had no idea what it was, but I was kind of into it. So even though I was like 5 minutes late, so I finished it, and I actually really liked it. What was that? I was supposed to see that movie where it's like everyone's trapped underneath Paris, the found footage movie. What was it? It was like some Victorian era thing instead.
As above, so below.
Yes, I was supposed to see As Above, So Below, and then I ended up seeing this weird Victorian drama instead, and I really liked it. What was it called? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sorry. Yeah.
Caligula.
That would have been hilarious.
I mean, it is a period drama.
It is period.
Period.
Oh, also, I had a similar when I saw Raccoon City, the Resident Evil movie, because I don't know the games. The whole intro scene to that, I thought I was watching the wrong movie because it didn't seem like anything I'd ever seen in a Resident Evil movie before.
I don't know how. Well, so you managed to avoid all of the Mila Jovovich ones?
No. The Raccoon City, the movie, the most recent one, took some stuff from the video games that the Mila Jovovich movies didn't take from. And so when that first scene is set in this orphanage and there's like this weird deformed kid becoming friends with this other kid, I'm like, is this Resident Evil? Am I in the wrong theater again? Is this happening to me for a second time?
More spoilers. Yeah, not a great movie, but interesting take on it.
I like it.
So you actually accidentally
too.
saw a movie in Raccoon City? I got lost.
Yes.
No, I was in a city and there was just a boatload of raccoons, and then it became a zombie apocalypse thing. And then I'm like, this is like a video game. And then a boss showed up and it had like an obvious weak point. It was a whole thing.
Based.
Improv.
Silence.
Love it.
Yes, and
Is Emily better? What was wrong with Emily?
Better than me? I would assume so. I mean, I
She's
know
always
so.
better
Wait a
than
minute.
you.
one would
I don't-
hope.
I don't know. What?
Well, somebody saw her wearing the red jumper and got worried.
Jumper.
You guys didn't get my joke, but Adam did. It did have a glowing eye in the middle of its chest. I think we're about running out of steam here, guys. Any other subjects that we want to throw out there? Anyone see anything interesting?
I think
week?
I saw my favorite comedy of the year. I think since we've been talking about like there isn't great comedies out there. Yeah, it had been recommended to me so many different times, and it is not what I expected. But that Kneecap movie, if you get a chance, it's an Irish film. It has Fassbender in it, if that's a deal breaker or not. But
Does it get naked?
he does not. You don't see all of Fassbender.
That's a deal
but,
breaker.
just enough. Anyway, it is awesome. It's everything that was said, and everything that Ed has said about it is true, man. It feels like it's kind of a throwback comedy, but it's definitely kind of modern. And then yeah, it definitely has to do with the importance of language. And man, I think I said some offensive things like Irish was a dying language on one of these ones, and my bad. I did not realize the fight to have the language carry on and everything like that. So yeah, it's informative and hilarious. I would definitely recommend it if you're a fan of comedy.
Wait,
Am
you
I
said
still the only
Dying
person on
Legend?
The
Gaelic?
original, I
You
believe
mean
it's Gaelic.
Gaelic, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
original language, not the English version that they made them speak. But yeah, it's definitely worth seeing.
So it's kind of like a
Am I
Whitey
still the only
Bonnix.
person?
I guess you
anyone
could look
else
at it
seen
that
the-
way, except it's ancient Ebonics.
Has anyone else seen the biggest comedy of the year yet, or am I still the only one? Megalopolis.
Oh no.
I have seen that one. I didn't find it as funny as you, Lindsay.
Oh, really?
It's kind of one of those tragedies for me, but
It is,
I wanted to like that. It has some beautiful imagery, but man, it does not come together for me at all. It's an interesting film. I think I'd like to see it a second time, but I cannot drag myself to actually watch it again. I think I definitely missed something, but I don't know. I think so did the director.
But that's kind of my thoughts on it. If I should watch it again, but I really do not want to watch it again. But Mr. Gray, what do you got going on your channel these days, buddy? Anything interesting coming up?
I've got a bunch of videos in the pipeline that are long overdue, so those will be out soon. But if you just can't get enough of me, I am on the internet almost every day, which is contributing to the videos taking way too long. But aside from the secret podcast that nobody knows about, hey, join us on Thursdays for the Thinkers over on That Darn Kiddos channel. Every Thursday morning, we get together. It's people from like 3 different continents, maybe 4, that all get together and argue about everything, completely disagree, but can leave somewhat amicably. So if that sounds fun, come have a think with us. I cannot remember for the life of me what the subject is, but there is a theme for the Think this Thursday. Why don't you tune in? Go over to That Darn Kiddos channel, ring the bell, and then you'll know what the theme is for our Think.
Surprise subject.
And then other than that, we just happen to have a very special show coming back next Friday, which Rosales might have a little bit more something to talk about. But yeah, there happens to be this Rosales After Dark on Friday nights. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, somewhere around there. We won't talk about the Mystical Standard Time. But yeah, come over, join. There's some dark topics that can only be seen there on Friday nights. Come listen to the amazing tones of Mr. Rosales and be informed on some rather crazy subjects. So go over to his channel, ring the bell, and then once you're done with that, look at his other show, which is also coming back this Sunday. It's the one that he's advertising now, the Super Sunday Wrap Up. Rosales, would you like to give him a little taste as to what that involves?
Absolutely. Yeah, we are coming back. We've taken a little bit of a sabbatical, a hiatus, if you will. Although I've only left show business in the lurch for 1 week. But yeah, we're coming back Friday, December 6th with the After Dark. We'll be covering whatever topics seem to be hitting the right tones on social media. And on Sunday, we will recap the week that was, including the movies coming out this Friday. So we'll take a look at that and see how well they did. We won't go into too much detail like we do here on the show. We won't go through the numbers, but we'll take a look at it. And if it happens to happen, we'll be there. And Lindsay, I would like to extend an offer for you to show up on After Dark. You are invited. Charles,
Thank you, sir.
If you're not having afternoon tea, you're also welcome. I don't know what's going on in your life. If you're gonna be home or if you're out at Pound Town or whatever that's called.
Whoa. You leave my personal life out of this, sir.
The dollar store equivalent they have there in your country.
Oh, that Pound Town.
Choice. Yes, Pound Town.
Sorry, I'm familiar with the American version.
Significantly less expensive than the American version. Troy's in for $5.
Ooh. What do we got here from Mr. Troy?
Go ahead, Lindsay.
Go ahead. Sorry, Charles.
Troy, $5 super chat. Thank you. Easy for you to say. Just sending some love and appreciation to you all. Side note, it's TLCP. CPO. Add another one to the tally. Hey, yeah. So I figured out what the thing is. It's the colors of the super chat. So anything below $5 is blue, and $5 is teal. Apparently, like red is swanky money, purple is $50. I think orange is 20, and yellow is 10.
Let's get a confirmation. Let's get a confirmation. Let's get a $10 super chat, and we'll see what color that is. We'll take one for $20, and
we're gonna need a 10, a 20, a 50, 100, and a 500 just to make sure that there's not an extra color. Just for the sake of
just to be sure,
demonstrable purposes.
Until we get one of those, we'll have Lindsay improvising everything he's rehearsed. So.
Let's say, Lindsay,
okay,
while
so
you're rehearsing, what do you have going on this week, sir?
I always have fun and exciting things going on my channel these days, with content coming out 3 to 5 days a week, depending on what's going on in the world and how I feel and how distracted I am by video games. But no, definitely come check out my 2 cents of nonsense. There's always something new and exciting and crazy going on over there. And oh my God, Troy with the yellow 10 is confirmed yellow. Woo! I definitely didn't read that right. I said. Yeah, he is.
Somebody went up Troy. Let's see what 20 is. Troy, don't you do it. Or, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money.
But as usual, Troy McClure, thank you very much, sir.
Indeed, Troy,
the cream of McClure is strong with you.
Charlie Papa needs a brand new scone.
Ooh.
Yeah, the crumpets aren't cheap these days.
But speaking of Mr. Charles, Mr. Charles, what do you got going on, sir?
Well, it seems like we're halfway to having a reunion stream with Emily. We've been catching up with all the stuff that we haven't seen. In the 6 months that I was gone, we just watched The Substance over Thanksgiving dinner.
Based.
Yeah, something that I really wish I had filmed us just eating Thanksgiving dinner while
Thanksgiving
watching.
Tradition. Do you guys have any holiday movie?
Perhaps.
Nice.
There's a couple of other things that we caught up with, and for supporters of the channel, we're doing a audio only podcast thing of a couple of things we've watched recently, and maybe just a general catch up in a live stream format sometime soon. There's a Friday the 13th this month, so I don't know. I guess I'll have to do something on that day. I don't know what the hell I'll be covering, but there's that. So Friday the 13th are always something. Learning a bit more about OBS, so Weekend Live might be a bit more a thing. I don't really know, because we had Cody for a little bit on Friday, and I wouldn't say it was a smooth process, but working out the kinks. Holy shit balls.
Troy, man, you don't have to lean into the bit, but thank you, sir.
Troy, you're a badass. $20. Fuck it. I made some good dough on football today. 20 is orange. Troy can confirm. Troy, let me know what you want to happen, because you Neapolitan ice creamed the chat there. So
but it is confirmed as to the different
like
colors
a pride
look real
flag.
Yeah, it is.
I like to view them more as Turkey Day colors. It's great.
Will they change for Christmas? We'll have to find out next week with Troy.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe they do holiday themed ones.
Yeah,
Man,
it
we
is.
are one step closer to 50, though. We are just that one step closer to 50.
No,
Dice rolling. You gonna let Troy show you out?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it would be the color of the rainbow, right? Because blue is below 5, green is 5, yellow is 10, orange is 20. So the next one would be red, I would assume. I'm not goading.
I do believe so. You do not have to confirm this for us, Troy, but I believe so.
Right. Yeah, Troy, hit me up and let me know if there's something that I can do to make that rainbow worthy of your support, sir. Dice says, I have $3. Troy can take this. Dice does not
Dice says
fall
the
subject
greatest
to debility.
$3.
Let me tell you about my Patreon there, Dice.
Not
Starting
quite
bid
reached.
is $1.50.
A good rainbow sherbet. Yeah. Troy,
Ooh.
close us out. You paid for the closer. What would you like to see us end this shit with? Sherbet?
Sherbet.
Want us to close with sherbet?
So more of a sherbet, not a sorbet type.
I
got
think
you.
that the delay is a little strong there.
Yeah, my mother used to call it sherbet.
I used to think
Sherbet.
sorbet was just a weird way of saying sherbet, and
I
evidently I
mean,
was
it
wrong.
kind of is.